the county. Thank you. Amen. Say the pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Ms. Starnes.
District 1, Darrell Jeter.
Here.
District 2, Michelle Glover.
Here.
District 3, Eddie Skeen.
Here.
District 4, Michael Bricky.
Here.
District 5, Danny Castile.
Here.
District 6, Chris Manus.
Here.
At large, Stephanie Addington. Here.
The agenda, we have one change. John Kilgore, under 8G, is going to combine that with number 13. So put 8G along with 13 back there. I'm sorry.
I have one thing to add. That would be item J under new business, meeting day and time.
Is that all the changes? I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Ms. Addington made the motion. Mr. Manus seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And on to the minutes, we have two different minutes that you should have gotten. April the 2nd was the last regular meeting. Do we have a motion to approve April the 2nd minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
It's Mr. Jeter made the motion and Mr. Manus second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then also April the 16th, the budget workshop. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Manus made the motion and Mr. Jeter second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we go to citizens' expression. There's a statement I need to read before citizens' expression. Citizens' expression period is a point in the meeting when anyone who wishes to address the board or staff may do so. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and state your name, where you're from in the county, or what organization you represent. The board may or may not respond to anything you say, but we will take everything you say into account when making future decisions. Please keep your comments concise and businesslike. If we do have one that's signed up to speak, and after that we have no particular order, we just ask that you take turns and speak your business. Any action will be considered after we close citizen expression. And we will open citizen expression. Ms. Amy Branson.
Good evening. My name's Amy Branson, and I am a lifetime resident of Russell County, Virginia. I am here this evening to talk to you as my downstream neighbors. Our county is considering a private mega landfill at the Moss 3 site in Cleveland, Virginia. It would accept up to 6,000 tons of trash per day via rail and truck. It would be out-of-state trash, so it's not going to be just a private landfill for our county. So our county is getting ready to make a decision that will affect you and your districts and the people of your district who live here and who enjoy the Clinch River and enjoy the beauty of our area. So I'm here to ask you all, as part of the We Say No to Moss 3 landfill movement, we have a Facebook page and we are working on lots of other things, a website, but we invite you to join our Facebook page and join our fight against the private mega landfills, because you might not think that it affects you, but it does. Our environment is important. Our Clinch River is important. It's one of the most biodiverse places in the entire United States, if not the world. We had Dr. Jess Jones from Virginia Tech come and speak at our last board meeting to talk about how valid and their efforts had been to increase the mussel population, and that things were going really well with the Clinch. We've got tourism. We have Mann's Farms here in Dungannon. I know we all like to get that produce You know, that's an important part of our revenue, and I'm sure our tax revenue. So we definitely want to maintain positive environment in the Clinch River. So I would love it if you all would be more involved in that, and I would love if the board would consider writing a letter of opposition to our board against the private landfill that would take out-of-state trash. So it's not just for our trash. We currently have a contract with Bluntville that's supposed to be good for several years. We had a 20-year plan back in 2016. So, and Bluntville has the facility and capacity to take our trash through 2094. If this landfill was just for our trash, I wouldn't be as opposed, but this is not just our trash. This is about making money, and it's a private company. So, thank you all very much for your time. I appreciate your consideration. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Bobby Powers. I'm representing my family and my future generations. How are you all doing tonight? I mean, really, how are you all doing tonight? Scott County is nothing but large tracts of farmland, and we don't have a lot of businessmen, doctors, or lawyers in this area. How many rich farmers do you all know? I'm worried for the board's mental health if you think that the people of this community can afford a 23% tax increase. Most people here tonight are just seeing a tax increase and panicking over a tax increase. What happens when you can't pay your tax ticket? They take your land. From the studies being reported, millennials won't be able to own a home. How do you think our children and our grandchildren can keep a property with that much tax? But you know who can afford this beautiful land between Jefferson National Forest and George Washington National Forest? That's where most of this lays. Millionaires and billionaires like Bill Gates. These families have been here for generations trying to work this land and keep something for our children. This is a legal land grab. Legal land grab. The citizens are here tonight to appeal to your better nature and common sense. We're here at your mercy because you all can pass this if you want to, but we're also here to protect your positions. If we can't have a board to protect us, we'll have to vote new members in. Where did the magical number of 23% come from? Those people can't afford gas and groceries. We're in the middle of a depression, and you want to propose a 23% tax increase like King George? My family has $250,000 worth of property over here, and I'll vote for a 90-year-old farmer, a plumber, a coal miner, somebody off the street before I'll vote for anybody that voted for this tax increase tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Peggy Tice, and I'm from Snowflake Road. Back again to complain about dirt roads. And it's hard for me to believe that there's that many dirt roads in Scott County. And I think that we could, if there's any way that we could get more money allotted for dirt roads, maybe you can't take money out of one pot and put it in to help dirt roads. But the dirt roads now are in real bad shape. Snowflake Road is just terrible. Been terrible for a while, and I called VDOT, and they called me back once, but the next time they haven't got back with me. And VDOT will be here next month. Is that right? Okay. And I'm just the 6-year plan just doesn't work. The 6-year plan just doesn't work. It works to keep dirt roads from getting paved, but I'm here to keep Snowflake Road on the 6-year plan. And thank you all for your services, and thank you for anything help.
Thank you, Judy.
Good evening. I was going to come prepared, but I didn't, so I'm winging it tonight. Thank you all for being here this evening. My name is Valerie Reno. I live in District 2. I voted for most of you in my district and for you, Stephanie. But I chose to live in Scott County, not once, but twice. I am originally from Michigan. I left that state because of taxation like this. There are farmers, there are people who are retired, who are disabled that cannot afford this. I work in retail with the public every single day, 50, 60 hours a week I work. And I see people coming into my store saying they don't know how they're gonna pay this ridiculous, unaffordable tax that you are proposing. It's a shame. Where do you all work? Do you work in Scott County? Do you? Do you, Chris?
I work from my basement, so.
You work from your basement. How many of you are retired? Can you afford this tax?
No.
So why do you think your residents are going to afford it?
I don't.
Where do you shop? For your clothing? For your cars?
Across the state line.
Cross the state line, where most of us are talking about moving to. My sister lives in Nashville, and she does not pay the tax that I pay. It is atrocious. And shame on me for not paying attention to the tax that was imposed 2 years ago on my mortgage. My property is unusable. I have a small yard, and I pay $700 a year in taxes. I won't pay no more. There will be a for sale sign in my front yard if this tax is approved. We get no county benefits. We don't have a road crew. I've got tree limbs hanging everywhere. And as a matter of fact, I believe it was 3 years ago, Tina, when the car got hit by the tree branch during a snowstorm. State of Virginia could care less, and so can this county. You want to do something with a 23% tax? Hire a county crew to do something. Instead of the inmates picking up the trash along my road, because that's real safe with 2 granddaughters living there. I loved living here, but I don't know more, and I don't respect what's happening in this county. So take it for what it's worth. You all can just sit there and nod your heads and agree with all of us, but at the end of the day, you've got people living in this county who love this county and who would fight and protect it. But you gotta give them something, and not just more taxes, because it ain't gonna work. Not gonna work. Thank you all for your time.
I'm District 5, I'm Jeff Watson. My dad had a Class A license, was a building contractor in Scott County for over 30 years. My brother was in a store business, was in Scott County for over 30 years. Told you yesterday I'm a disability. I can't afford to pay no more. And if y'all are looking at 21% or whatever on the increase, and you get back and you do it, what are you gonna do next year? Well, we want 50%. We got them the first time, we sorely good us. We can get them the second time. Is that what y'all wanna do?
No, we'll vote them out.
We can't do it. We're supposed to get a percentage the cost of living every year. The cost of living has went up 50%. We got a 2.5%, $60 that won't even buy our groceries for a week. Now how can we afford this? You tell me and I'll pay it. But I'm broke and I ain't got no money. Am I gonna lose my house? Am I gonna lose my land? I've had to take on something here since last February. I lost my mom. She deeded the land to me and my son. I got 15 acres. It's what I own. I can't even take care of it. God, how I'd love to have it. I can't take care of it. And I can't afford to hire somebody to do it. How are we supposed to live? Wake up, folks. Come on, there's better ways of doing this. We've got a lot of expenses in this county that don't need to be expenses. We're paying a lot of people for doing something that don't even pay. I hear we got 2 building guys now that goes out and checks the buildings. When'd that come along? We've had 1 guy for years and years and years, and now you got 2 inspectors? That's $100,000 apiece. Get rid of one of them.
Right.
Am I right, folks?
Right.
I've said my piece, and that's all I can say. I'm not going to go home. I can't go home and worry I'll have a heart attack over this. But I'm telling you right now, I'm one, and I know there's thousands more that lives in this county that can't afford it either. Thank you.
I'm Roger Stidham. I live in Pattinsville area, and this is how it is. We ain't gonna sugarcoat. Y'all throw money up a hog's ass over here on the river, that big building, down in Duffield, up on the hill, look at them big buildings. You keep throwing this money away. Now look, a lot of money's made here in Scott County, a lot of it. You drive around these businesses, people that's making all the money got Sutherland County tags. They live in Tennessee. We're spending all of our money in Tennessee. You can't buy a pair of clothes and breeches in this county. You can't buy nothing, not unless you go right up here at Mountain View. You can't get through there to look. Now it's time y'all cut stuff. Quit throwing it away. It is. It's time to quit it. Y'all just, it's easy to spend somebody else's money.
Hallelujah.
You know? I like to have $100,000. I can spend it. Y'all gotta quit. Y'all gotta cut some. Everybody's gotta cut some. Now y'all hit us. You can't hit us no more. You just can't. Now people's had enough. Y'all gotta make hard decisions. Y'all do. But you gotta make them. Start cutting this stuff out. There's a lot of stuff spent over here that don't benefit Nicholsville, Dungannon, Duffield, nowhere that way, but it benefits right in here. Well, we shouldn't have to pay for it. If they want all this, let them pay for it. Don't let us pay for all this child care and everything that's going on. I've said my piece.
I'm Debbie Kendall, and I live in Gate City. And I'd sell you any one of my properties tomorrow for what y'all got them appraised for. They're already, they're not in Richmond, they're not in Roanoke, they're in Scott County. And they won't bring what y'all got them appraised for. And what jobs have y'all brought in, good paying jobs to generate income for people to be able to afford to live in Scott County since y'all have been elected? Nothing?
That's John Kilgore. He's man over. He's not here tonight.
Y'all got the telecommunication building up there sitting empty. Norton got a new telemarketing company. Did y'all even shoot for that company?
I'm not being here on the board long enough. But
I
you're
mean,
correct.
y'all need to have some answers for us. Y'all know if y'all generated anything or not. Have y'all gone to any big corporate grand openings? Cut the ribbon?
Nope.
Okay, there's my answer. And would anybody like to buy my property? And we're like being like double taxed because the only thing that you can buy new in Scott County, a little bit over groceries, is go down to Roten Smith. You can buy you a new house furniture. Unless you want to dress with Dollar General clothes, you can't buy you a new outfit in Scott County. Tell me what y'all have to entice somebody to come to Scott County and to pay these high taxes that y'all are trying to generate. You have to go to Tennessee, and it's like being double taxed. because there's nothing here for us. And y'all want to raise the taxes 23%? You know, the solution is, when it comes up re-election, all of us to be campaign managers for somebody else.
Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Sharon Nelson. I live off of Boozy Creek, District 2. And first of all, you have almost an impossible job. It's very difficult to be leaders in a county when there's so many things that are not working anymore. There's a lot of things that I am not aware of that you are that have to do with the budget. So forgive me if I say something that's out of line. I really respect the work that you do. It's not easy, I understand that. The piece that I see, and I appreciate everybody that's already said something, you've addressed a lot of the different issues from real estate to not having any businesses here for us. The one thing that wasn't mentioned, and it's on my mind, is the school district. The school district and how they manage students coming from outside of our county into our schools. Not only that, the inability for this Board of Supervisors to actually speak and have conversations, adult conversations, with the school board to figure out what is going on, not only on a yearly basis, but as a long term. If we can't have those types of conversations and figure out what to do with all the students coming from out of state into ours, and we're paying for it, and then looking to have it matched, something is not right there. And I see a lack of leadership and a lack of vision is the other. Lack of vision. We can't just keep going the way we are on a year to year and expect that this is not going to happen again the next year. We are in an inflationary period that doesn't look like it's going to get any better. So what's happening now is going to happen again next year. We need people, you, which we've elected, to serve as our leaders and visionaries to see how we're going to be 2 years from now, 3, 5 years from now, so that the people that live in this amazing county can have their homes, raise their children, and be able to know that they have a board of supervisors that has that leadership and the vision to go from this point forward and be able to thrive, not survive. Yes? Yes. So I would like to see something really start moving with the school board and see what we can do there. Thank you very much for your time.
Gary Baker from Boozy Creek. I don't know how I could do any better than Sharon did right there, but first off, I want to thank Mr. Dingus for explaining the trash situation, picking up on Sunday. I didn't know there was a bottleneck that they were closed over in Tennessee where we take our trash. So on our next our meeting on May the 14th, town hall meeting, first one for District 2, that anybody from District 2 that's here be on May the 14th at 6 p.m. at the Boozy Creek Community Center. And the way I understand it, they're going to have 2 more, one in Hilton's and one in Weber City later on in the year. Now, Mark, I wanted to bring up the Bray Farm. We should have been down on our knees begging. The EDA should have been down on their knees begging for those gun manufacturers to come out of the north down there. And I don't care if we needed money or not. We should have done that. Because something like that would have brought in a heck of a lot more than a Walmart or something like that. They built a $4 billion building down in Maryville, Tennessee. Anyway, another thing, y'all were talking about deducting. I don't want to see, I don't care if they do wear a gun and a badge, I don't want to see anybody other than the sheriff deputies driving home in our county vehicles, backwards and forwards to work, and not have to pay a dime. And that's a wear and tear on our vehicles. And there's no sense of that. I don't care who you are.
Right. That's right.
And
$140,000 a year. If I can't afford gas, I need to quit their job.
And another thing, the farmers in Scott County are the big taxpayers. They own the land, and they somewhere around 45% of what the county taxes are paid are by the farmers. And we're gonna have to, y'all need to do something to help them farmers in Scott County. And I ain't heard a thing yet on the school board, and I know it was brought up last night. Have they got a long-range forecast for this county? Because are the children better educated now than they was back in my day? I said they can't even write their name, and they sure can't make change. So what is you just can't keep feeding that all the time. And I may be plumb out of line on that, but that's the way I feel about it. I've got a bunch of stuff, and the way I understand it, we're paying $18,000 a year per student, where the state average is $10,000. I may be wrong on that, but that's what I heard. So something has to be done. I'm sorry I'm here running my mouth again, but please hold off on these taxes till you get a grip on micromanage like old Red Wine and Hood did several years ago. When they come in here, if they said we had to cut our budget 10%, buddy, we had to cut it. And that's what we done. Every office in Scott County, we had to cut those budgets 10%. So there ain't no sense to that. Cut everything you can. Do the best you can. Y'all got a hard job. I appreciate you. But don't just jump in there and raise taxes. And I didn't like this last night about calling somebody a liar. If I'd have been somewhere across the room right here, they wouldn't have done that to me. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Fritz Gerald Phelan, 2300 East Carter's Valley. I've been up here before on this, but a lot of folks have said what I'm about to, and I back them up. People, you see on the news people crossing the border illegally. That's going on right over there where I live, East Carter's Valley. There's more and more Tennessee folks starting to live there, keeping their Tennessee tags, and they give a Kingsport mailbox address. They're getting out of their state income tax, which that goes to the whole state. Little stuff like county stickers and stuff. Every dollar makes it makes sense. But it's getting worse and worse over where I live. And a lot of them is going to living across the state line, which Tennessee people is just as good as anybody else. But they're coming over here getting an education at Scott County expense part of it. And I've heard, well, the state gives these grants. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was told. Well, who pays them grants back? It ain't Kentucky people.
Virginia.
It could be in Norfolk, Alexandria, Scott County. But they need to pull their part. If a Scott County student goes to, say, Dobbins Bend or something, they gotta pay their tuition. So what's the difference? I've been told, well, that creates job when we get more students, we get these grants. Well, you get a new employee, who pays that employee? It's tax money. Everybody needs a job, but we need to police that a little bit better, see what's going on. I'm not for that. I could get Tennessee tags put on my car, but it's not right. God's watching me. I ain't gonna do something I ain't supposed to. I bought a 2024 Mustang GT. I say the tax on that's gonna be $400. But God's blessed me, my family, my income and everything, but everybody needs to be treated fair and equal. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or whatever you are this damn time. But I could sit on my front porch. East Carter's Valley, it's more Tennessee vehicles going in front of my house than what it is Virginia. And it's just not right. I don't care to feed the hungry, but at least let them try to help themselves a little bit instead of try to beat the government. That's our tax dollars when you got people going to school. They ain't supposed to. I went Weber City School either yesterday or day before yesterday. Yesterday, I think. It was so many students, cars with Tennessee tags letting those kids out. Well, it's a roadblock up down through there. They go to Hilton's, Weber City Elementary, Gate City High School. I don't think they go to that part of Rycover, Twin Springs from Tennessee, but it's right here on the state line. But that needs to be checked into. If nobody else does, I am. It's kind of like being pregnant. 1 day or 9 months, you either are or you ain't. You can't be a little bit. So we need to kind of open our eyes a little bit. How many, who did not vote for a tax increase? Show of hands.
Not voted.
Everybody voted?
Not vote.
We haven't voted for my tax.
Oh, not been voted yet?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. There's been a lot of confusion around that, I understand.
Yeah, well,
It's not even been proposed for us.
like I say, I'm doing okay right now, and God's blessed me. But there's folks in this county choosing their grocery and their medicine. And it's probably more than what we think. God bless them people. But I like I say, these other folks, y'all got a hard job. I wouldn't do it. There's no saying, anytime you talk about politics or religion, you got a 50-50 shot of making somebody mad or glad. A lot of truth to that. Okay. Y'all do a good job now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Chad Culbertson. I've lived here in Scott County. I'll be 49 this month, so I've spent almost a half a century in Scott County. I live up right just this side of Snowflake. Lived there my whole life. My wife and I both have, we've been married for 30 years this year. We've acquired close to somewhere around 500 acres, a farm, well, rough land in Scott County that we've been making some into farmland. We work 6-7 days a week, have done this for 20-some years now. We've got 3 small businesses that we use here in Scott County. We've generated quite a bit of money, revenue for the county through houses, rental properties, and everything else. So I just want to give a little bit of background. So I do have ties to Scott County. So I work at Eastman. My wife's a nurse over in Kingsport. She's a director actually over there. So I can afford the taxes if you raise them. My son, on the other hand, one of these days, I don't know. I don't know if he can. His children, hopefully I'll have some grandchildren. He's getting married this August. I don't know that they can hold on to this 500 acres that me and my wife's worked 20-some years, along with my dad who just passed away, to help me acquire all this. It's been a goal for me to get this land, and I want to keep it because I love Scott County. I want to leave Scott County, and I sure don't want to have to spend every dime I have. Like I said, I work at Eastman. I've been at Eastman for 30 years, right at 30 years. Would like to retire soon, in the next few years. Don't know, if we raise these taxes and keep raising the taxes, and I want to keep my land to retire and farm, I might have to stay working at Eastman so I can afford to pay the taxes. But and like I said, I'm the Lord's blessed me and my family. I can afford it. But there's lots of people that y'all even heard a few here tonight. But I promise you, there's a whole lot more that can afford it. So, and I appreciate all of y'all. I meant to say that when I first come up here. I don't know much about local government. I am interested in it. I like hearing it. I've listened here the last few years of government, and I know there's a lot of waste in our federal government, and I'm confident, and I know there's some waste here. So I would just like to ask that, I'm not sure, like I said, don't know exactly how you do it or how you go about it, and I would be willing to offer my services to help any way I can. But I suggest we look at cutting the budget somewhere, somehow, first and foremost, before we go raising taxes. That makes sense to me. I work at Eastman. We deal with this on a regular basis. I'm actually a manager at Eastman. I'm always having to roll out stuff to where we're having to cut budgets. We don't go gouge the customer for more money just because we're over budget. We cut cost, and we do it on a regular basis. Sometimes it hurts. So like I said, I know there's waste in this county, no doubt. I'm not calling nothing out here tonight. I don't know. One of these days it might be that, if enough people here, I don't think a lot of people is even aware of it. I just heard about it just a week or two ago, and that's why I'm here tonight. I've never been here before to a meeting. Shame on me. That's why I say I respect you all for the work that you do, and I appreciate you. But I will try to get more involved and kind of keep up with what is going on in the future. And like I said, I'm more than willing to help any way I can. If any of y'all would ask anything I could do to help, I promise you I would give you any assistance I could in figuring out some way to cut the budget.
I'm going to remember your name because we're always looking for good people on committees.
We are.
So
Chad Culbertson.
Yeah, I've got your name.
Okay. Okay. Well, but I do appreciate y'all, and I don't want to, I know it's easy to get tempers flared, and, and I don't know enough about the situation, but I do know I would certainly, if you got to raise the budget or the taxes to pay the budget, you got to do it. But I don't know that we've explored the other avenues first, and I would suggest doing that. So thank y'all. Appreciate you.
My name is Kim Osborne Francis, and I have lived in Scott County all my life. I've worked in Scott County all my life. I've had a business in Scott County for over 40 years. I own Southern Graphics right here in Gate City. Probably in that 40 years, Scott County may have spent ballpark, maybe $40,000 in my business. I can help Scott County if I get to bid on their work. I don't get those bids. And I've talked to the supervisors, I've talked to you people, and I've asked for that business. I've not got it. That's not what I'm here about today. I want to know if we were able to get the breakdown of the number of county vehicles that we're paying for and the amount of gas we're paying for in those vehicles. I had asked for that last night and was told we would have it today. Ms. Starnes?
Do you want me to speak?
It's up to you. This is public expression. It's not supposed to be a debate or.
Oh, I
it's
didn't
up
want
to
to
them
debate
to-
it. She had just said, yes, she didn't have that, but she would have it today. And I didn't get it in my email. I thought you were bringing it to the meeting.
We have 79 vehicles.
79?
And we will respond to your FOIA request.
Okay, that'd be good. Okay, something else that I wanted to talk about. In my 40 years down here at Southern Graphics, I can tell you that over the years when it came time for elections, I saw a whole lot of people that came in my shop that had really good hearts and good intentions. They wanted to be a part of Scott County government. They wanted to contribute. They wanted to help the families and the businesses here in this county. I've printed your cards, Darryl, several of you. I watched them come in and I listened to them right there at the front counter, and they talked about, you know, changes they wanted to see made and things we could do differently that would help the county out and that would help the people out, the elderly people out, the children, and the circumstances that we live in here and deal with every day. And they were good people. Some of them won and some of them didn't. A whole lot of them never ran a second term. Some of them did. But until I came in here last night and sit in that corner and watched how you people treated one man that came in here and tried to make a difference and tried to help the people of Scott County and be honest, upfront, and open with a proposal to hopefully lower taxes and keep from taking food out of people's mouths and making their lives harder. I could not believe the treatment and the verbiage that I heard from you people talking to this man. And I honestly can say that all those little people that came across my front desk up there and wanted to try to do this job, and they got in here and I called them out because I said, you said you were going to do this, you've not done it, why? I understand now. I've got a 100% better vision on why it is so hard for Scott County to move forward and get around the old guard than what I ever realized it was. And I have all the respect in the world for the people that will stand up here and try to change this and make this a decent place to live and a place where we're not taxing people completely out of their property and across that state line. Thank you all.
Anyone else?
I know I spoke earlier, but I looked up online. I'm requesting copies of the budget and board packets under the Freedom of Information Act, a copy of the bylaws. Your agenda is online, but the packet isn't, and it shows where our money is being spent.
Put that in writing.
Online, it says at least one copy of the proposed agenda and all agenda packets, and unless exempt, all materials furnished to the members of a public body for a public meeting shall be made available for public inspection. At the same time, such documents are furnished to the members of the public body. The proposed agendas for the meeting of state public bodies where at least one member has been appointed by the governor shall state whether or not public comment will be received at the meeting, and if so, approximate point during that meeting when the public comment will be received. So it's required for you all to give us a packet at the time of the meeting, or it's disqualified a meeting, right? Is that law? If you don't provide us with a packet tonight, doesn't it disqualify this meeting?
No, ma'am. If you have requested the packet ahead of time, then it can be supplied to you.
But this says that it's supposed to be supplied at the same time as the meeting.
If you have made that request ahead of time.
That doesn't say that. It says it's supposed to be made at the time
of the meeting. It doesn't say ahead of time. I mean, I'm looking at the law online right now. You can pull it up. Right there's the law. You're supposed to provide at least one copy of the packet to somebody in this meeting. No, the agenda's online, but the packet shows the budget and what your money, what our taxes are being spent on.
Could I go ahead and give her a copy of the working budget that we got? I got mine from yesterday, if you want. I don't think I put any additional markings on it. Let me grab it here. Depends on if I took notes on it or not. You're talking about the budget, right? Just want to make sure. Just want to make sure I did my. I'm not losing some of my notes.
This is what our money is being spent on. We're supposed to see this every meeting.
And we all get copies of it?
They're supposed to provide us with.
I have rental property, and I also take housing, but housing does not pay anything near what housing pays for over in Kingsport. You know, Scott County needs to get up with the times if they're gonna keep raising everything with the county. Now, does the funding on the housing, because it comes through Scott County Housing Authority, do y'all fund that? Do y'all know?
She's probably got that in that paper.
Huh?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Because you look in the paper, the Kingsport Times, it's saying one bedroom's $900 to $1,200. I have a 2-bedroom house with a lady that's disabled. She's been with me for 8 years. The county part is $357, and I get $500 for it. Do I kick her out so I can pay my taxes? I'm a widow. You know, I'm working a part-time job to make other ends meet. You know, people can't keep on taking on more and more just to survive. And y'all really need to do a deep soul searching on what y'all's decision tonight. Because, you know, God's watching. And there's people in need.
I got a question. With the tearing the old jailhouse down, you have right off bat how much it's cost the county to do that? And the next question is, once they get it tore down and moved out, what are they gonna go back to place of it?
Darrell, you had that memorized. What was it, 114, 117?
$117,777, something like that.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question?
And what they're going to do is build a sally port, so it's
Was there
safe.
agenda packet out for tonight?
They're right outside the door, man, hanging on the wall in a little clear container.
And we're still discussing, Jeff, what we're going to do back there. They need a sally port to get the prisoners from the jail out at Duffield into the courthouse without having to walk through families and people that they may have harmed over the years. So we're trying to make it a safer place to bring them. If you'll look, we've got a trailer out there right now that they're going into. It's not a house trailer. It's a pull behind, a small trailer that they're staying in right now. But that's what the plans are.
What company is doing that?
Tila Green.
Where they at?
Tila Green?
Yeah. And thank you, I
Jeff, we looked at that. We looked at that 2 years ago and got bids to add on. We thought the judge was going to make us do another courtroom. And the bids were 28 million and 33 million to do that. I hope I'm out of here when they finally decide to do that, but right now it's, what, Darryl, 117 something to get it tore down.
Where all them big buildings is going to waste. You ain't got that far, they can walk up to the courthouse. That's all you gotta do is solve that problem.
Anyone else want to come up to the podium and speak?
My name is Casey Bellamy. I am from Yuma, originally from Rye Cove. Mr. Bricky, you is my principal.
Yes, ma'am.
I grew up here, and I have never seen it the way it is now. It is ridiculous. And the taxes keep going up, but I don't see where it's being spent. I drive around, the roads are not paved, there's potholes everywhere. Where's that money going? Because it's not going towards paving the roads. You call Richmond, there is no dirt roads in Scott County. So how is that possible? Another thing, when it comes to tax breaks, 79 vehicles, does that include first responders? Or is that just the council and members of the council? I'm just curious, because when you think about that, not only do you have to think about the gas that's being spent, but the maintenance, on-time maintenance, which I can't even do on my vehicle because oil is so expensive, oil filters, plugs, wires. Is that being spent by our tax money as well to keep your vehicles up to date? Because mine ain't up to date. I'm driving around now over 5,000 miles overdue because I can't afford to buy oil. That should be something. A woman said yesterday, we need to think about our wants and then our needs. Or think about our needs and then our wants. We need certain things. We need a good school system. Our kids are not being taught. Okay? Back in my day, we said the Pledge of Allegiance. We said an early morning prayer. And we have took it out of our school systems. Look at where our generation has gone now. I'm just saying. There's a lot of things that can be done. There are a lot of breaks that could be took away. You want to bring businesses in? Give them a tax break. You need volunteers for your fire department? Give them a tax break. You put so many hours in, we're not going to charge you so much on taxes for your property. You put time into our community, we're going to help you. Have incentives. Okay? That's the only way we can come together. Look at the people in the room. Generational. We need to get the younger generations involved in our politics. We need to teach them about what is going on because we are not like other counties. We are different. We are God-based. And we need to come back to that and stop trying to be like everybody else, like Tennessee and all of that. We need to be community-based, have community farms for those who can't afford food. That 75 acres of land in Duffield could be worked and feed people. I'm just saying, there is opportunities here. You just got to open your eyes and see them. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Ben Christian. I live in Gate City. I'm from the Manville community. I lived in Manville, lived in Scott County all my life. I'm an insurance executive at Price and Ramey Insurance in Kingsport. And I jokingly tell people all the time they teach us three things in Scott County: reading, writing, and the road to Kingsport. And that's normally met with chuckles, and that's what it's intended for. But I don't believe everything that we do should be outsourced to Tennessee, and none of the rest of us do either. And I respect every one of you for sitting up here and taking the pummeling that you're taking today. It's certainly not an easy thing to do, to sit up here and listen to your neighbors bring their concerns. And everybody that's here, I'm sure, also has come with the best of intentions, I hope. We just all have a funny way of saying it. I've got several houses in Scott County. I can afford your tax. I don't want to. And I came this evening being aggravated, you know. But now I really am kind of concerned because what I think I see is a difficulty to envision how we're going to get out of some of what we're in, you know. I know enough about budgets and having to help run a business that when you got an issue, you have to either cut something real deep or hit something real hard to bring something in, and you'll deal with problems down the road when they're down the road. But my boys are in school in Scott County, but I pay for them to go to the Christian school, and that's fine by me. And we don't get a tax break for doing that. So if I'm helping fund for somebody else's kid to get an education, that's okay. But I don't want them to end up getting employed and going to Tennessee or somewhere else. You know, I do. This is what I do. But also, I run our business division, and I don't deploy somebody over here to write a bunch of insurance in Scott County for businesses because it's not as plentiful. And so we do a lot of our business in Tennessee, and I wish that we could make more of an impact in Scott County. Whatever you do with this tax, I really hope we can find a way to not hit it, because like I said, I'm from Manville, and man, there's a whole lot of those houses that have just dried up in my lifetime. I'm 45 years old, and there's a lot of those houses that just don't have anybody in them, and the people that might be in them are not investing in them. And I bought a house, and I've bought houses in this very room off the tax sale, and I've benefited from that, but you know, somebody didn't. And if houses go down, your tax burden is going to be higher for those that are going to be still here. But the houses that you want to try to get property tax on, people might just off and leave those things, and then Mitzi's going to have more sales. And then folks might come in and might invest in them. They might not, you know. But whatever that you do with this tax deal, we really do need to have a long-term vision for Scott County that can be communicated to folks, because I think it might make it easier for people to take what y'all have to do. It's tough where y'all are sitting. I wouldn't want to be there, because you got to make the wheels turn. I just wanted to respectfully just add my voice to, I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, let's make sure that my boys that are 17 and soon to be 14, I want them to be able to afford these taxes. Chad, man, you did a great job talking, pal. I couldn't agree more with what he said. Just because we can't afford something don't mean we want to have to, especially if we're not real sure about what the vision would look like. Because one of them houses that was all crapped out was my great-grandparents, Cecil and Blanche Eastep, and I bought it to fix it, and I'm going to move back into Manville. I got no plans to leave Scott County. I just hope I don't regret it. So y'all, let's make this thing good for the long term. I know y'all got other things to do. Thank you for listening to me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We'll
My
close
wife told me that it's-
public expression and move on.
No, could I say something, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Now, there's a couple items that I think we need further discussion on. One is Ms. Branson mentioned Russell County landfill. Is there any discussion on that? They asked for a letter of opposition.
What was the timeline on that? Do they need it like next week? Do they need it? Oh, they left.
Her letter says the public hearing's tomorrow. Or there's a meeting tomorrow.
They have a public hearing tomorrow.
Well, it says Friday, March 8th, but tomorrow's Wednesday, March 8th.
That must be an old flyer.
Well, it says 2024 on it.
It's probably the flyer from the previous. Well, is there any discussion now for that issue, the landfill? We're not sure on the date.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind sending a letter of support for them.
Like she said, we are down river from it.
There's a link on the DEQ website that has the notice of intent about that landfill. On the DEQ website, they call it the Carbo landfill. that I can send that link to the entire board if you want to read about all the particulars as far as the DEQ permit goes.
Could we create like a provisional letter like we do for some of those? And then kind of get a consensus via email and then vote
I don't
on it
think we
next
know
time?
enough about it right now.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, to give us just a little bit of time.
Bill, if you could get that to us, we could look over it individually. and
We
then-
might look
and then
at it
maybe
at the
let-
end of this meeting.
And then let Frida.
If we're not here at 2 a.m.
The other item is the board packet. Do we need to get a ruling on that later? Available to the public prior to meetings?
The budget packet?
The board packet.
Our new civic clerk will allow us to push that out to, the same thing you get on your tablet pushes to the public. They'll just need to go to our website and sign up to receive that.
And what you gave her was a working copy of the budget, right?
Yeah, right.
Your agenda's online, but your budget's not online. I done went and looked.
Yeah.
Yes, but what about people who don't have access to the internet? Some of our residents in this county, as I say, are senior citizens or people who are computer illiterate. Not everybody is tech savvy in this county. I'm sorry to say that. Maybe if we had more money in the school budget to where they could learn that, they would know how to use it.
Mike, could I say one thing?
Go right ahead.
I want to inform the public that all this stuff that goes up, it's not our doing. A lot of it's sent down from Richmond, and we have no,
Then that needs to be addressed, and we need to be notified that it comes from Richmond.
just let me
people
talk.
don't accuse you of doing it.
Let me talk.
Turn the volume up so people back here can hear better.
Sorry, man, we've had problems with that in the past. We'll get it fixed for you.
Anyway, a lot of this stuff that's sent down, we do not control. We don't control how much we have to give the school. We give them just exactly what we have to. And in the last several years, the budget for the school has went from 4 million and something up to 9 million and something. We don't control that. They tell us what we give, and just the regional jail, it goes up because we're having to keep so many inmates down there. We can't control that. We can't control a lot of this stuff that y'all are blaming us for, but we try to do the best we can do and try to cut everything we can possibly cut. Sit down, I'm talking. Just sit down.
You're rude. You're very rude.
Thank you. I'm just telling you like it is. I'm not rude. I'm speaking to try to tell y'all people, just like the courthouse, the judges and stuff tells us we've had to do this, we've had to do that to satisfy them. We didn't want to do it. We don't want to build a $30 or $40 million jail addition, but sooner or later it'll probably come. But we don't want to do it, and we don't want the taxpayers to do it. But when they tell you you have to do something, you have to do it.
Who pushes back on those? How can they rule the county?
Privatize the jail system.
Yes, make them pay for staying there, treat it like a hotel.
I mean,
They
so,
do.
the courthouse is the prime example of waste. I can name you all kind of waste that goes on there all the time. They'll close the whole courthouse down just because they're calling for a half inch of snow. They close it down and we still pay the salaries of everybody working there. There's a house over there, supposed to be the judge's office, sitting down there, that he don't even use, and they want to build something else. Put the inmates in his office over there in that little house beside the courthouse. There's all kind of ways to save money.
We've tried to do that, Chad.
Chad, we're talking about all that.
And the judge won't give it up.
Well, then,
we can't make
Let's
it.
go away with the judge.
Yes. Who does he answer to? Who does the judge?
Is his church, excuse me, is his church, because I've heard this, and I won't know, you both them know this. Is the jail operated by the judges and the lawyers?
Yeah, that's why they circle. It's gonna stay.
How can it be that? How can a judge say, well, I'm gonna send you down out of my house, you're gonna pay my wages for a while? That ain't right.
That jail's gotta stay full. Okay? Everybody that works there is based on the full capacity of that jail. And if you got the drivers stop there at Get It Market and all these other places, go in and buy their dinner, if they're on company time. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But you're wasting company time. You're wasting our tax dollars money, just like the state. They don't start work till 7 o'clock of the morning. You go to Duffield, Get It any morning, 8 o'clock, they're all in there buying their breakfast. Now, there's places to buy breakfast before 7 o'clock of the morning. Let them buy breakfast on their time, not on our time. Get out and work our roads, it's so bad. It's just,
Are the
it's all
neighboring
waste.
counties
It's waste.
that are sending inmates to the Scott County Jail, or that have inmates in the Scott County Jail waiting for trial or whatever, do they pay us for that inmate?
They pay,
Or are we picking up the tab on all that?
each county pays their part of the jail.
And city,
Per
for the
inmate?
city of North.
Per inmate, you pay per inmate.
You did.
You've got,
But back to the judge, how can we as a citizen of Scott County complain about the judges? Who do we complain to? If they rule the county, who do we
They're not
complain
the
to?
be-all, end-all of authority. We can report them to somebody.
I'll tell you how that's all.
There is a
If you go over to the courthouse, you look on the door, there's a phone that says no cell phones in courthouse. Well, a judge made that rule. It's a rule made by a judge. Any public building, you can take your cell phone in, you can record it if you want to. Well, you go in private records, back there where land deeds and stuff is,
sorry.
you can take
That's
your
all right.
cell phone and don't admit to it. I had to go to Kyle Kilgore to get it stopped. Judge, we don't live by rules. We are governed by law. So somebody's got to tell these judges, I don't know if everybody's scared of them or what. But look,
They're not the
do your
be-all,
part, leave
end-all.
us alone, yeah. That's it. They can just make what they want. Well, who made that? The judge. Just because he's a judge don't mean he can make a rule and us live by it. We're governed by laws.
Back to your statement about the school funding. I know that Bristol Casino gives every county that surrounds them tax money that they generate. So that money is supposed to be divided up inside of the county. Where does that money go? Where did that money go last year?
That's gonna help lower your taxes. We got around. Listen to me, you can listen to me. The money that's coming down from the casino specifically is about $650,000 approximately.
Yeah, that's approximately.
That can go to the schools, it can go to health, it can go public safety.
And transportation.
And transportation. That's the only three things we can send that money to, and we've already, in our budget that we've looked at twice, and we're gonna look at 2 more times, we've already put part of that in the, in public safety and in the schools, I think. But that, they tell us what we can do with that.
Isn't there a judiciary committee that people can complain to about attorneys and judges?
Not that I'm aware of.
She's an attorney, correct? Sitting next to you, Ms. Gedley?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there not a judiciary committee that judges fall under?
Can you bring
Yeah,
the
there
law
is.
suit
Every
against
state,
judge?
every county has a judiciary
Make rules,
committee.
we're governed by.
I don't believe so. Not in the county.
Yes, John knew there was gonna be questions about where different taxes come from. Why didn't y'all have the treasurer be here tonight to be able to answer some of these questions? That would just be common sense.
If you would, please come up here where we can hear you, if you're gonna speak.
Because we can't hear you. If you ought to come up here, we could hear you better.
You close citizen questions.
Yeah.
And you know, if John Kilgore is not promoting.
Do you have something
jobs
else?
in Scott
You don't
County,
have another
why
question?
don't
That was
y'all
the 2
get
items that
somebody
I
else?
Okay. We have closed public expression, and I
Well,
think
see-
Mr. Skeen is finished.
Well, did we finish up with the question about the packet? Is that clear on how that happens? The prior to the meeting? Oh, you said, yeah, you did say, with the new system. Okay, move on.
Okay, we're going to move on to a public hearing on the adoption of an ordinance to amend the Scott County Animal and Rabies Control Ordinance. This has been out since May the 1st, I think. Have you all had a chance to look over this? Okay. Let's open public hearing on the adoption of an ordinance to amend the Scott County Animal and Rabies Control Ordinance. Is anyone here to speak on that? We'll close the public hearing on the Rabies Control Ordinance, and I ask for a motion to approve this. Any discussion before we do? We have a motion.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve that.
We have a second.
What is the ordinance, by the way?
It's to allow a prohibition of dogs running at large on, like if your dog trespasses on somebody else's property and they don't like that, that it can be addressed with this change in the ordinance.
Right now, if you got a stray dog out and it's running cows, unless it actually physically harms it like a cow, the animal control can't come out and get it if it's just running.
Now, what if an animal is out running?
If a dog is out running cows or doing some type of harm to your property, but hasn't actually physically hurt anyone or hurt any property, then you can call animal control and have them come out and get that dog. Why this, and I've had a lot of questions around this too, why this is important. If any of y'all are farmers and know if you got a dog out running cattle, a lot of times they won't bite them, right? They'll just run them. And they can run them into a pond or a gully or anything. And you call animal control and they're not allowed to come out and get them because they haven't technically harmed the animal. And what this does is this allows them to go out and get the animal, get the dog, or whatever it is.
They investigate it first, and then.
But they're not hiding anything else into that law, right? Because as a farmer, if a dog gets after our cattle, we have the right to shoot it. If it's on our land, we have the right to shoot it. So that's not going to be in that bill that you're proposing.
No, that's not taking away anything that you've already got. It's just making sure that maybe you're an older individual and you don't want to go out and deal with the dog. You can't shoot it or whatnot. You might not have a gun, which I can't imagine anybody in Scott County not having one.
Basically is a leash law.
No, sir. Time to
Yes. Sorry.
I'm Bill Davis. I'm Director of Public Works and supervise the animal control. Throughout the year, we get a number of calls from the landowner and says, such and such dog is over here, and we have to ask, has it bit anybody or has it killed anything? If they say no, we're damaged property, we say we can't do anything about it. And it frustrates people that, we will say, if you call your neighbor and talk to them about it, yeah, I'll call them, and they won't do anything about it. Dog keeps coming, and they get frustrated because animal control can't by law go out and get it. What this does is gives us a tool that if you have a dog on your property and you talk to your neighbor, and we'll ask you that, if you talk to your neighbor, then we'll talk to the neighbor, and if that dog keeps coming on your property and you don't want it there, then we can charge you, okay? It's not a leash law either. If your dog is on my property and I don't have a problem with it, we don't have a problem with it. So it just gives us a tool to give landowners an option to get a dog off their property that they don't want, that the neighbor won't work with them on, okay? It's not a leash law. If you're hunting your dogs, there's an exception there, hunt your dogs. You can find the public notice in the paper, this past paper, because we had to put a public notice telling about this ordinance to have this public hearing tonight.
In the county paper?
In the county paper.
I run into this problem last year. I had neighbors' cows to get my hayfield. Well, they tore my hayfield off the piece. I called the law.
Okay, I don't want to let me get back to the meeting, but I will say we have a livestock running large law, but that's in Lovelace. We don't have anything.
But they told me I didn't have no right to protect my property. And that's the law.
Yeah,
and that's the real dog.
You have to sue them. But anyway, sorry.
We have a motion by Ms. Glover. Do we have a second?
Well,
I'll
let's
second.
just put it
Ms.
this way.
Addington.
When you're on a farm, you got dogs out there, until the state of Virginia puts leashes on deer, bear, and these other problem animals, my dog is gonna stray where that that goes, because I'm on the farm, and I've got property, and she's gonna go, but she's gonna spend 90% of her time right where I'm at.
As long as that, your adjacent property owners don't have a problem with that dog, there won't be an issue.
Yeah, it's like down in Fairview, we have a couple of community dogs basically that run around. They're good dogs. They just go from house to house wherever they can get food at for that day, whoever's put their scraps out, and we all take care of them. But you know that's not illegal, right? Because we have all kind of agreed as neighbors to kind of take those dogs in. Does that make sense? I was worried about the same thing, sir, because I've always grew up on a farm. We had, dogs that were never on a leash, and I didn't want to make that illegal. So yeah, that was one of my concerns, and that this does address it.
It's a good thing for landowners.
Well, I just misunderstood it, said running at large and running dangerous packs. I didn't, that could be misconstrued, I guess.
When you get into hunting dogs, you're faced with a different problem. I've run dogs for 60 years and went through the trial up here in Gate City with game wardens and attorneys. And they told us that a hunting dog has a 50-mile radius that they can travel. There's an exception for an active hunt. So if your coon dog runs on the property, it'll be a process before anybody gets a ticket anyway. We just can't work with that landowner and they won't take care of it.
Well, most farmers don't mind a hunting dog on the land.
Yeah, right.
It keeps critters off.
Well, if you don't care.
As long as they don't mess with our
If you don't care, we won't care. Yeah.
As long as they don't kill our animals, we don't care.
Yeah.
It keeps critters run off.
So this will be based on your plan.
Complaint, based on the flight. Yeah.
I had a Gate City officer one time tell me that when it comes on your property, it becomes your property. Is that true?
No.
No. So he was misinformed.
We have a motion by Ms. Glover and a second by Mrs. Addington. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This passes. Next in new business is the town of Dungannon, Ms. Deborah Horn.
We've said so long we can't move.
My name's Deborah Horn. I'm mayor of the town of Dungannon. This is Nina Begley. She's our council member. We have Christy Farmer, who's another council member. I'll let Nina go first.
She's going to let me go first because I come to ask for $1,000 for our 4th of July parade and fireworks, which the board has been very generous with that each and every year. And we appreciate it greatly, and we would appreciate it again this year if possible. That's all I've got to say.
Discussion, please. Any discussion? When is the?
It's the 4th of July.
It's on
4th of July. Yeah. It's usually, you all have been real generous in the past.
Y'all always have sponsored our kids' fun song, the water slides, snow cones, face painting, all the stuff that the kids get to do is sponsored by, we use you all's money for that.
We have any discussion or a motion?
Do we have any money in contingency for that? We have nothing. Okay.
I'll make a motion to give it to them.
Okay, Mr. Caswell.
I'll second that.
Castile makes a motion and Mr. Manus seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so
It's
much.
one of the biggest days in the town. That's the way I see it.
It is.
Thank y'all for coming, okay?
All right, we have one more agenda item. We have I guess it's a policy that was established September 18th, 1973. It's a little outdated, I'm sure. But it's around building inspections and permits. And it's only for towns that are incorporated. Clinchport, Duffield, Dungannon, Nicholsville, Gate City, and Weber City. So the issue that we have, and it causes a lot of confusion for our residents, is when they come to get a permit, we tell them, okay, you have to go to the county, get your permit. We have them look at a paper, sign it saying, you're gonna go to the county, but you may also receive a bill from us at the end of the year because they don't collect everything up front. So that's what we're here today, is to ask that you change that, to treat incorporated towns like you do unincorporated. We don't need to be the middleman to collect money for the county for permits that they're giving out. Because then the customer gets confused that we're sending them a bill at the end of the year, and they're like, what for? I've already got it, I've already done the work, why are you charging me now? And then it goes into a huge whirlwind and battle trying to get money from them, and then the town's stuck with paying it, and we don't have the money to pay that.
Yeah, we have had to pay several, I mean, up in over $2,000 in building and zoning fees, and our town is small. We don't have a whole lot. We're nonprofit. Everything that comes in goes right back out in maintenance of the water plant, the sewer plant, maintenance of the water lines. We have no money extra to budget to put into this, to pay this every year. And what we're looking at, this being this old, if we couldn't somehow get together and see if we could reroute this around to where the towns are paying for people to have electrics done or to build a room onto their house, and we're having to pay these big high fees when we have nothing to do with that. And we feel like that if we could get it changed to where the people that's coming in to get these permits, what's charged to us should be followed to them instead of to the town. The town is paying everybody for working on electrical, for building a building bigger than 10 by 20, and it's costing, we got a bill, I will say the other day, for $956. And it's a lot of money for us. We just don't have that kind of money to budget. But if there's some way that we could come together with all these towns and sit down and talk, since this has been since 1973.
Bill, are you free to aware of this?
Discuss some of this?
Well, what's happening is that the towns don't have to have their own building official. We talked about this a little bit last night, if they have under 3,500 people. So they don't have to have a building official. But our department does those permits within the towns. And based on how many permits is written in the town, they pay us to reimburse for the building official services within the town. Now, you all are turning around and charging the people for that.
Trying to, because we
so
can't.
So that's causing an extra permit fee on them for the same work that do. You know, I'm not sure every town is doing that.
It's just the incorporated towns.
No, I'm not sure every town is charging the people.
Well, let me ask the question. What do people that's outside the town limits, what do they have to pay?
They'll pay the same permit fee as the people in, say, Dungannon. Somebody outside of Dungannon and somebody inside Dungannon, as far as the county fee for a permit, it's the same thing.
But who's paying the people outside of town's part that we're paying to you all?
That's not theirs to pay, that's the town's to pay, in lieu of having your own building official.
We don't have a building official.
I know. The county's doing it for you. So you're chipping in on the building official's salary.
And all that.
Right.
I understand that, and that's something that we
But in
feel like that
73,
we
they
shouldn't
probably
have to
didn't
do.
charge that much.
Just because we're in a town, right, incorporated.
Right, you all are a town.
Right.
Gate City's a town, Nicholsville's a town.
Essentially, does the customer think they're being billed twice? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it causes.
It causes.
Because you all are charging them because you don't have a building.
See, they're supposed to come to our office and get a permit. We do not charge for the permit. The permit they get from us, they're supposed to take to down here and pay for their permit down here. And we've always asked David not to take anybody's, get a permit without a permit from our town.
That's normal. Like if somebody comes in for a building permit out of Gate City or Nicholsville, they have to have a zoning permit from those towns before we issue a building.
But he's doing all these permits without doing this, though. We're not.
But y'all don't have zoning, do you?
No. I don't. No.
Not that I'm
aware of.
So y'all have a permit process that people have to come to you and bring to Mr. Gilmer.
Yes.
And he's been issuing permits without y'all doing your part?
Without them coming and getting their pit
Yeah,
ready
we
from
can address
us.
that. We can talk about that. And
That would work.
I wasn't aware that.
But I
y'all
know
did
some of
that.
the other towns, smaller towns is like us, they've had problems too.
Yeah.
They've called us about it, and we've been meaning to come down, but we just finally got to the point where.
But that was the agreement back when the building code was established.
In
the county.
1973.
So the towns.
So I think it's time for a change.
So the towns didn't have to have their own building official, that they would pay or help the county pay for having a building official based on the number of permits that happens within the town's incorporated limits. Okay.
Yeah, but I still think since it's 1973 that should be looked into and see where his salaries and wages and stuff like that are being paid by
Does he
the
get paid
fees that he receives.
anywhere else?
Huh?
Does anybody else pay the inspector besides the towns or the people that get the permits?
The amount of permit revenue that we have for building permit fees, I don't know. I was building official back in 2001 through 2005, and the permit fees are exactly the same as they were then. So they're not coming close to paying for that department. Anyway, so it's general tax dollars that's paying for most of that part.
But if you can make sure that he doesn't accept nothing without our permit, then we can work with that.
But we still would like for this to be reviewed.
Yeah.
And a possible change to where
If
we're not
there's-
paying those fees. We
If
can't
there's a
afford to
committee
do
or
that.
something that we could help y'all with, or some
you
of
take
us
a look
towns
at
get
that, Bill?
together, we'd be more than glad to.
Yeah, but we'll get something together.
Talk about it and see what y'all think. And I want to
Appreciate y'all.
thank you all very much for listening to us and for all you do. I know what you go through every day, so
Yes.
I feel for all of you as of tonight, but thank you all so much.
Thank
for
you,
it.
ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Buddy Dale. Mr. Buddy Dale, the High Knob Music Festival.
Good evening to you. May I approach and give handouts?
Sure. Sure.
Sir.
Thank you. Okay.
My name's Buddy Delp, Big Stone Gap, Virginia, Wise County. Treasurer for the High Knob Music Festival. We operate as a subcommittee of the High Knob Enhancement Corporation. And I'm here this evening to give you a little bit of an update on the festival. I'll try to fast forward through this. You all have got a lot of busy things to take care of. The handout will tell you pretty much everything that I was going to tell you. Basically, this is our 10th year putting this festival on. Hard to believe that that we've actually survived a small community group of people, all volunteer, who put this festival on for the Southwest Virginia region. And Scott County and Wise County have been just unbelievably kind to us and helping us raise money to put this festival on. It is a free, family-friendly, no drugs, no alcohol, family event, family-friendly event. I think that's uncommon in this day and time, that you have an event like this that costs the citizens nothing to come to, and they can bring their family. They're not going to be exposed to anything that's not family-friendly. We not only invite people to bring a cooler with their sandwiches and soft drinks and water, to the festival, we encourage them to do that. After we had the first festival, we began to get, and we didn't sell anything during that festival. But we had requests for us to provide some sort of food because people are several miles up on the mountain, and some people don't want to bring a cooler or bring sandwiches and drinks. But the reason I mentioned that, we have so many families that, and especially in today's money, it could cost you $100 to bring 4 kids out and feed them all day and provide them with something really good to do. So we're doing that for free. MELC, Mountain Empire Older Citizens, runs buses from the J.I. Burton Norton High School all the way up on top of the mountain to the High Knob Recreation Area where this festival is held. So we've done everything that we can possibly do to make this a zero cost for anyone who comes to the festival. If you go to the J.I. Burton High School and ride one of the buses, they run every 30, 40 minutes. There's one going up, one coming back, and one up there sitting off to the side waiting. The only thing that citizens may incur as far as a fee would be the Forest Service charges a $5 fee if you drive your vehicle up there and park. That's for everyone, and we can't control it. And we've asked for it to be suspended for that day for this festival. And of course, they're very rigid, National Forest is, and they wouldn't do that. But that's something that you don't really have to do. You don't have to bring a vehicle up. You can ride the MELC van. But at any rate, we're so proud that we do this free festival and we make it family friendly. And we have not been able to do it except that Scott County, Wise County, Big Stone Gap, and the city of Norton have really stepped up and helped us to raise money to do this. Our budget is $12,000, and in today's money, that's not a lot. We do everything we can to keep it simple. We use as much local talent as we can. This year we will have, and there is a copy of the schedule. The second page is our copy of this year's schedule. The first group on there is after we do our opening ceremonies, which I would love for any of you all to come up there. The opening ceremonies are just unbelievable. We have taps played. We have the Rolling Thunder Motorcycle Group comes up and does one of their military programs. It's just heart-rending to be involved in a patriotic opening ceremony like that. I know everyone would enjoy it. But one of the things that we've tried, one of the several things we've tried to do since we started doing the festival, that was all we intended to do, because we thought that's a pretty big feat to pull off, is to go up on top of High Knob and put together an outdoor music festival. But then we realized, we need to upgrade the recreation area. It was run down a little bit. The stage was not much of a stage. The electrical system that supplied the amphitheater area up there was 112-2 wire running down through the woods. It wasn't even under the underground. I don't know how that happened, and nobody at the Forest Service could explain that. There was no record of it. So Wise County actually paid $4,200 to allow us to put a new electrical system in up there. And then Scott County, Wise County, Big Stone Gap, and City of Norton helped build the stage. And if you've been up there, it's a beautiful stage. It's got hand-hewn wood around the sides of it that was provided by log homes over in Duffield. We are totally a nonprofit. All of us are volunteers. We go up and mow and weed eat the recreation area. The Forest Service has not been able to provide any help at all in the last several years. We were struggling before 2020, and after COVID, they actually doesn't seem like they do anything towards the maintenance of the rec area, and we try to do what we can. I'll get in real quick. We're still raising money to build a handicapped accessible observation platform just down from the parking lot, so that people can, if they're in a wheelchair or cannot get around very good, they have a place they can get to real easily and watch the concert from up above. And that's actually a two-phase plan. The second phase is we intend to build a ADA compatible walkway or wheelchair path down the road going towards the bathhouse up there. But we're trying to cover more than just the festival now by doing this. We begin to see people coming up who were handicapped. They couldn't get around very good or in a wheelchair, and so we realized, we've got to try to do something about that. It's the Forest Service is not going to do it, so we're taking that on also. I want to give a lot of credit to the High Knob Enhancement Corporation. The last paragraph on your handout tells what our relationship is there. They're doing incredible work right now. Everything was stunted during 2020, and everyone is just trying to grow through that and get back to some state of normal, I guess. But at any rate, I know you all are strapped. Everyone's strapped for money. We fundraise as much as we possibly can, and right now we're hoping to raise half of that $12,000 cost of putting this festival on. And this campaign I'm doing, going to the different entities to see if I can get support. Right now, Norton has made a sponsorship donation. Big Stone Gap has made a sponsorship donation. Wise County has made a donation. And if Scott County Board can see it clear to be able to help us out with any donation at all, we would appreciate that. If you can't, we do understand times are really hard. Also, I'd like to invite, and I will contact Miss Pam Cox and try to set up a meeting with her. I'd like to see if we can increase our partnership, not in a monetary way, but get Scott County more involved in what we're trying to do at High Knob, and see, and the first paragraph of my handout tells that we're trying to push and promote tourism and generate more people coming into the area and buying gas, buying food, staying in our motels and so forth. And I think we all agree that every single thing that we can do like that, like this festival, to draw people in, is important long term. And all of y'all, the four entities I named, have really bought into that. Big Stone is pretty far away from us as far as miles go, but we're looking at a regional concept, and they have bought into it, and they're doing a regular donation each year. But I will try to get with Pam and see if there's some ways that we can get, for instance, maybe some volunteers who would like to come up and help work with us to do these projects. I think there's 8 of us on our committee now, and everyone's old, and it's getting more and more difficult to do the work. I'll be having surgery on my arm next week after that. So I don't think I'll be able to do weed eating and mowing up there, but I'm sure we'll get it done one way or the other. But again, thank you all for your help in the past, and I want to ask you for any kind of decision right now. You've got my name and phone number. If you can help us out, then the checks we made out to High Knob Enhancement Corporation. Last paragraph on the handout has got all the information. And I thank you so much for your support over the years. And thank you all. I'll reiterate what some people said. This is a hard job. These are hard times. Inflation has caused everything to go up. If 2 years ago, if you took your family out to eat, now when you go out, you'll pay twice that just about. So that money transfers into everything that we do. And everyone is hurting, and I realize that. But thank you all so very much for your patience with me this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Is there any discussion?
What's the past history on donations?
I believe we've done 1,000 in the past.
Do we have enough left in our contingency fund?
You have
for this year?
$1,800.
Whew.
Let's get down there then.
One more meeting.
One more week.
Anything that's typically left.
What's this? Next one.
Just a presentation.
Somebody here. Wonder what that is.
$1,800 and one more meeting, and that's.
There'll probably be someone else asking for help with 4th of July stuff.
Let's go on to, if you don't mind, let's go on to the next one and see what it is.
Okay.
And maybe come back to this.
Yeah, we're good.
This is not. Okay.
It's
all right.
informational.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Any suggestions?
It's hard to spend it when it's down that low.
Yeah.
Do you foresee anything else?
When is this? Not that I can think of. Bruce, will you be asking for anything?
I wasn't gonna ask for anything today.
I mean, in this budget year, like June, will you be asking in June?
I will always ask. One thing that we would probably ask for, I guess, 4th of July is, the property for our fireworks at Teletech. And to help us with that, and whatever you guys can do to help us with that. That's about the only thing I can ask for.
That's the only other group I can think of right off that would be this fiscal year.
Yeah.
Could
Because
we
you usually
divide
help
what we've got
Duffield
between-
Days, but that's later.
That's later.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we do in the past.
1,000. Right. Discussion or a motion?
Do you wanna think about it? What do y'all wanna do?
How quickly are you needing this money? I guess that's my.
Whenever, it's fine, because we actually won't make most of our payments out till June the 15th.
Okay.
That's the day of the festival is the big flow of money out, because we have to pay for practically everything then.
Right.
Have some expenses leading up, food to sell and that kind of thing, but we have some funds in our account, so we're up to the day of the festival, or even after for that matter would help.
How it is?
How much did you give to Weber City last year?
Mr. Cross, was it 1,000 we gave Weber City last year?
$1,000, yeah. And we also, get permission to use the Teletech before we shot them off last year. I would request that also, if you use that product.
Just split it between the two. Is he gonna ask today,
No, he's not asking today.
but it needs to come out of this budget? Well, half of the 18 would be 900.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and I'll chip in 100 myself, for you, and to make it even 1,000. So 900 from the board and 100 from me. Deal?
I'm humbled, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate what you're doing here.
Let's do a motion and vote.
Oh,
Do we have
sorry,
a motion?
sorry. Let's do a motion and vote, Des.
I make a motion that we do 900.
I second that motion.
Okay, Mr.
Sorry.
Mr. Ski made a motion that we do 900. And Mr. Manus seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
From contingency.
Yes. From contingency. $900. And 100 over here.
He's got the address.
Well, I think he's just,
I'm just gonna write the check right now.
he's just gonna do it now, I think.
Oh, wow.
I'll forget it if I don't do it right now.
Okay, we'll move on to the Appalachian Harvest presentation.
Hey, Adam Pendleton with Appalachian Harvest, the general manager. Mr. Skeen had been over 2 or 3 times now and asked that we come and kind of share what we've got going over there with the board. Really just see if y'all can help get word out to producers or anybody that might be interested, and we may be able to help in the area. So we're a food hub. We're located in Duffield. It was established in 2000. Basically, it came about when tobacco was kind of going out. A lot of farmers needed some different options for their land. It actually started in Stickleyville. That facility burnt in around 2007, I believe. And the one we're currently in, we started out of there in 2008. We offer a pretty wide suite of services to producers. Up until last year, we was strictly produce. So we've ventured into meat now. But our suite of services to our producers on the produce side would include.
Excuse me, Ed.
Yeah.
Did you have a PowerPoint presentation?
I do. Is there anywhere to hook it up?
You got it. Jump it up.
I do not.
Where you got it?
It's on Google Sheet. I can email it to you. I don't know if you got email it.
Yeah, that might take a second.
Thank you so much. I'll try to bring I don't know if it'd be family friendly. It probably would.
Y'all want to take like a quick bathroom break while he's getting this set up?
That would be.
I think that would be good for everybody.
It's already been asked, so we'll take a 10-minute break.
we're trying to develop more market to give them more opportunities as that comes along. Our sales team, I should have threw in the amount of years of experience they have there. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Robin Robbins, but she's done sales for a long time there. Bonnie Eubanks been with us maybe about a year, and then Brittany Woodby. So we've got 3 people on staff there that's handling the sales and doing a real good job with that. And then season extension. So that's one thing we're starting to look into pretty heavy. Pricing's typically better if you're off season of what's local to around here. So we've had a couple producers start to explore some things like that. We've got some strawberries out of Kentucky over the winter. Had one producer grow some cabbage in a greenhouse. And the yield and the quality of that, he was harvesting it in February. Really good, had limited inputs, and hit the peak price in that. So that's one thing we're starting to look at more and more, is how we can extend the season out without adding a lot of cost on producers and get them a little higher price on their crops. Just some pictures of the facility, and then the food boxes, that's become a real big piece of what we're doing. We're handing those out in Duffield, as well as working with, I think, upwards of about 30 churches and food banks and things like that that's picking up at the facility and handing them out really across the entire region from here to the Carroll County area. So we're doing about 1,500 or 1,600 of those a week. The value added, so we work with a cannery out of Lee County, the Relish Barn, and are able to sell some products to them that's seconds, or maybe too big, too small, misshapen, things like that. That'll end up in some of these products that we're selling to a few of our retail customers. And then the beef, as I mentioned, I'll talk on this one a little more. Just started that one about 18 months ago at this point. We feel like there's a lot of opportunity there. We kind of got to looking around at our service area, and there's definitely a lot more cattle in this part of the country than there is produce. So we felt like we was missing a big opportunity not helping the beef producers try to keep a little bit more of that money local. So we, one of the first places we sold it, where you see us standing there, was into Food Country. So we're kind of working on developing markets for that, as well as, hopefully down the road some other items, maybe some hog and lamb and maybe even chicken at some point, But right now we're just focusing on the beef. And like I said earlier when we was in here, main reason for this is just if y'all can help us spread word. I run into somebody almost daily that lives in Scott County or Lee County, has absolutely no clue that we even exist and what we do. And if they do, it's mostly because of the food boxes, honestly. They're like, oh, y'all are the people that hand out the food boxes. But as far as knowing the services we offer to growers and farmers in the area, it's pretty limited. But some of the things that we definitely could use right now is broccoli production. Moving about 600 cases of broccoli a week, and really don't have a producer that's doing any volume of that during the peak of the growing season. The beef, as I mentioned, I'm actively looking for beef producers too that want to finish out cattle. We've got a set of guidelines on how we want those finished out. Mainly we're trying to take them off of feedlots out west or whatever. So we don't want to necessarily creep them up in a feedlot here, but if they can have access to pasture, we're still fine with some grain and things like that. But really, like I say on that, just wanting to keep the money local. And then the season extension, that's a place we're definitely focused right now. As far as production, the couple crops we messed with like that in the last year, it definitely paid off for the producers. They captured quite a bit of premium compared to what it would have been if they had grown that during the summer. So like I say, we feel like that's a real big opportunity for somebody that's interested and wanting to get into this. I already kind of touched on that, but like I say, the strawberries, the cabbage, and there is some grants out there that'll help with some hoop houses and things like that. I believe through, I'm not sure if it's the NRCS or the FSA, but I know there is some grants available. If you run into any producers that's interested in that, you could guide them that direction, or to us, and we can help them from there. Some of our impacts since we started in 2000, we've sold around $36.5 million, and mainly in the produce since we started there. About $58,000 in Virginia fresh match incentives, We also have a groundwork program, so we work with Scott Services pretty heavily on participants for that program. They actually help around the warehouse, pack the boxes. I've had a couple go on to get CDLs. One of them's a truck driver for us now. Got one that's running a warehouse for us. So it's not only been a good program for them, but for us as well. And then we have two other sites, one in the Abington area and one in Tazewell, that also has gardens, and they're working in those areas there as well. So that would be part of that 53 number. So like I mentioned, we do a lot with food boxes, and then prior to that, we started that about a year and a half ago. We always fundraise quite a bit of money to donate just loose produce, usually seconds or overages, to food banks. And all that total together, we've done a little over 7 million pounds of food that we've been able to donate to food banks across the region. So the 150,000 pounds in Grow Your Own since 2012, that's another program we have that's typically working with lower income, anybody with some kind of a boundary, garden boxes, things of that nature, to help them produce food that they can have and eat. 5,000 acres of forest land conserved through the forest farming, which would be the herb hub, and things of that nature that I mentioned. 34 beginning farmers through the program that we've had there since 2017. So that's linking them up with a farmer that's needing help and kind of like an internship basis, and they're able to get actual on the farm experience while also helping that farmer out with a labor issue. 80 raised beds installed, 123,000 food box distributed since June of 2020. And then 300 plus farms supported through the different types of training that I mentioned across the region. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to make a comment. Those food boxes that you're handing out are such a blessing to our community, especially down there in Duffield. You know, I'm sure you're aware every day or every Friday the line is all the way back out to the road. And I just want to say from the folks in District 6, we really appreciate what you're doing there.
We're glad to do it. Definitely huge demand for that. Like I say, we're doing about 1,500 or 1,600 a week, but that's really not even scratching the surface of the need, I don't think. So.
It's all great quality stuff. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like I've seen what y'all hand out. It's fantastic. So
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
How do people sign up? What's the qualifier too on the boxes?
On the boxes. So we do hand a few out there at the facility. A lot of those boxes are actually funneled through the partners, like I mentioned, the churches and the food banks around the region. That can vary a little bit depending on requirements with those partners. For the ones at our facility there, like Chris mentioned, there's a line that usually strolls all the way from our facility basically out to the main highway that comes through there. Sometimes we'll have to reroute them around the Pioneer Center, but for those there, just get in line, and it's one per family on those boxes.
Yeah, and there's no forms or anything like that anyone has to fill out. So
Right.
please, I've been trying to help y'all get the word out
Yeah,
on that.
appreciate it.
Really appreciate
that.
We are planning a follow-up farmers meeting with Scott Gerald, the extension agent in the county. So we don't have a date on that yet, but that's coming. Just not into detail, but financial opportunities for Scott County growers, produce growers.
Mm-hmm.
Financially, about what would they see?
It would definitely depend on size and scale and acreage. If I wanted, I'll throw out a high number. I've seen producers clear as much as $7,000–8,000 an acre, and maybe even more on certain crops. But I know personally that's doable to clear $7,000 or $8,000 an acre on crops.
I know there's some expansion, like in the Bristol area.
Mm-hmm.
You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a slide. Oh, I think there is. Yeah, so we've recently, the food hub down here in Duffield's one of the things that we do under the umbrella Appalachian Sustainable Development. But we recently purchased 17 acres off of exit, let's say 13, don't hold me to that, but right there in the Abington area. And basically, it's going to end up being the main office for a lot of the other programs that we have, and also a campus that producers will be able to come out and see different innovative practices. Some of those will be forest farming related. Some of them may be, no-till production. Just a slew of just, different things to think about on a trial basis, as well as offer opportunities for the groundwork program for expansion on that. And there's going to be a greenhouse on site there that'll be ran by them, and then all the farming will be done by groundwork staff there as well.
You'd mentioned, when you and I talked, you were interested in a slaughterhouse possibly. Have you done any more with that, or?
Yeah, so that's something I think we're going to get to the point of is a slaughterhouse potentially in this area. I think we was talking about the Tazewell one where it was on county land, and they've gotten a couple grants up that way, and they're putting one in. But right now we're getting by. But I think when we get this built on out and get more producers brought in, and we do get to the point of going after a large wholesale customer, I think there's going to be a need for that, so that we can have more control and keeping the product very uniform, not to end up making a customer mad, things like that. So, and I don't know if any of you have cattle or take any of those to slaughter or anything like that, but it's pretty difficult to find openings. A lot of times they're booking in excess of a year out. So just to keep that from being a limiting factor and being able to help producers in the area and expand this program, at some point we feel like that's going to come into play and be a need that we'll have.
Where can we find out more information about the beef? Because I know there's a lot of beef producers in the area.
I can leave contact with you.
I appreciate that.
I can share that out. Our website, my contact's also on the website. It would be asdevelop.org.
You mentioned a tour of your place for the board members.
Yeah. So it been out, like I say, 2 or 3 times. If anybody else is interested in coming down and seeing the facility and getting more in the weeds about what all goes on there, or if you have producers that's interested, definitely send them down. We're always there Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturday, but usually 8:30 to around 5. Somebody's around. Anytime you're in the area, feel free to stop by. We'd love to give you a tour and answer any questions that come up.
It's a really great facility y'all have there. I was there earlier last year at a tour. And
so you have been to the...
I have been. I saw, it's kind of funny. I was helping set up for Duffield Days, and I saw the line that was stretched out, and I walked over there and asked everybody, what's going on here before you all really started advertising it. And they took me through the facility. I think the guy that gave us a tour gave my daughter a pumpkin to take home. So.
Might have been Roger.
It was Vernon.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, if you're ever in the area, we'd love to have you stop by and
I think
get word out. We appreciate it.
You and I talked about just getting the word out. A lot of people here don't even know about you. So hopefully with the TV coverage and the newspaper coverage, hopefully Lisa will put you a plug in there and we can get some farmers on board.
Sure. Well, I appreciate your all's time. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
On with the agenda, D, the Wildwood Health and Wellness Center Partnership.
I emailed this memorandum of understanding out. I did hear back from the majority, so I went ahead and signed that and sent it in. Just for the records, I will go over that again. It's the memorandum of understanding between Dickinson County and Scott County for the Wildwood Health and Wellness Center project. The purpose of the MOU establishes a cooperative partnership between Dickinson County and Scott County to engage collaboratively in the Wildwood Health and Wellness Center project as part of the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority's initiatives. This partnership is aimed at leveraging combined resources and expertise to address opioid misuse and enhance overall community wellness. We don't have any financial responsibility with this MOU. Some of the responsibilities, Dickinson County will lead the project, managing the physical and financial aspects without sharing fund management responsibilities. Scott County commits to supporting program development, expertise sharing, and community engagement efforts related to the project. And joint efforts with both counties will cooperate on achieving the project's goals, including the exchange of best practices and learning for effective opioid abatement. So we just need to ratify this MOU between Scott County and Dickinson County for the Wildwood Health and Wellness Center project.
Any discussion or questions for you? We have a motion to let her go ahead and ratify this.
I'll make that.
Chris makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Jeter seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And E, 8E on the agenda, resolution to increase the transfer station tipping fee. Sally has got a form filled out here. Any discussion on that?
I think we wanted to discuss the amount, right?
Yes. I think the last thing I heard was 60. Was it 65?
60.
60?
Just keep going up.
How about 65? $60.
They might just throw it on the side of the road if we raised it to 65.
Does that document designate the exclusion, or exemptions,
It does.
exceptions?
It does.
It's on your tablets.
It's on the
Yeah,
table.
I've looked at it, but not recently. I did have the church and organization in Nicholsville that does the free installation of decks and that kind of thing. I don't think do they pay anything now? That Baptist organization.
Are you talking about the partnership there located in Nicholsville?
Yeah.
I can't remember if there was like a board exemption that happened at some point for them. What they bring up there is not a whole lot. I'll have to check on that.
Someone with Kendall Keith mentioned that
Yeah.
since they do everything voluntary and basically
Right.
for free, if they had to pay for that, it might put a strain on what they do.
You know, when we were talking about this, we really didn't consider churches and that kind of work.
I think a lot of theirs is decks and handicap accessible ramps and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So construction.
You know, it may be based on, you know, instead of giving a blanket out there, if it's incidental, you know, it's not gonna be, you know, something that would be devastating to the project anyway. But if it is a big project they see coming, and that's gonna be a significant cost, they could come to the board and ask y'all to waive the fees for that particular project. Maybe a better way of doing that. And then you don't have the issue of contractors doing something for a church, if the church is hired, they're saying it's for the church. And get that being unclear, and the guys at the transfer station having to weed that out. So,
Sounds like a better way.
That might be a better way of doing that. We do that from time to time with churches that are getting building permits. That they'll come in, so we don't have a blanket waive for their permit, but they come into the board before and said, would you guys waive the permit fees for this project that we're doing? And you say yes or no.
I mean, we
Probably
can let them
the
know.
Same way, good way of handling that.
Yeah, we can let those folks know.
Is there any way that we could add that to the resolution at the very bottom?
I think that's what we're saying, we don't need to put anything.
We don't need to? Okay. So they could just come on here and ask? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be a case by case.
And the guys at the transfer station could tell them that, right? I mean, if they came up
Right.
there with, you know, that they could get.
Right, and the guys at the transfer station, they can use their best discretion and say, hey, you guys are gonna have to go get you're not gonna have to take this back right now or, block the road or anything like that. But, yeah, they need to go through that process and try to get that out there as best we can. And that's something that, they still have to get their building permits through the building department. And we can give a notice to Mr. Gilmer and Tim to let them know that that will be a tipping fee if they have disposal unless they come to the board and ask for that specific project.
The tires we talked about possibly going to tonnage versus $1 per tire on disposal.
It's at $40 a ton currently, it's pretty much a wash. I've did the math before of how many tires were in a container and what it weighed, and what we had to pay wise. And it's pretty much $1 for a car tire times every how many it makes to make a ton equal about the same money. But if you do it by ton now, it's $40, or it may be whatever you all make typically, and it may save some of that cost of hauling the watts.
So are you suggesting adding tires in to be weighed versus a single?
They're already weighed. We keep track on the weight of the tires, so they're weighed and counted now. So it may be just a matter of not counting and just charging them the tipping fee for tires.
Because it's kind of the honor system now, pretty much, isn't it?
Well, if they're coming up there, they're already at their intent, I guess, to do the right thing. And they're coming across the scales, And a lot of times they might have 2 or 3 tires and a mess of stuff that they cleaned up around the house. And that might make it easier for our guys, just if it's something they have to charge for, they just charge for all of it.
Okay, any more questions? Discussion? If not, do we have a motion to pass a resolution?
I'll make that motion
Okay.
What amount?
at $60.
$60. Okay, Ms. Glover made a motion. We have a second.
I'll second. Oh, give it to Mr.
Mr. Castile, seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we go on to 8F, 6-year plan, road price.
Oh, one thing, Mr. Chairman, when will that go into effect?
Immediately.
Immediately?
Usually
Tomorrow?
that's what it is when they adopt something.
Okay, so tomorrow morning.
Unless you want it to be July 1st or, whatever.
Well, I talked to the Bluntville landfill today about the renewal, and although today is kind of the day that we started before, that new pricing at Bluntville won't take effect until July 1st. So,
So start June the 1st.
July or June?
and that might give us some time to let contractors and public know that this is
Is it
coming.
June or July?
Did you say June or July?
July.
July.
He said July, I said June.
I was confused.
I was too.
Well,
I said June, start it June the 1st.
oh, yeah, maybe, well, July 1st is the beginning of the new fiscal year. That's when we'll incur more cost at the landfill. Might give us some time to let people know that this is coming. So, because it's going to affect some budgets, like the Thames River trash.
So you want to
service.
start July 1st?
That would be my recommendation.
So if you all can all agree, you just add that into what you just did.
So
As part of the
That'd be
resolution.
fine.
I want to make sure one thing, that's not going to mess with our budget, is it? Where we have the projection at $60. Does that take effect on July?
July 1st.
Okay. All right. Just making that clear.
So you're saying July 1st?
Yes. So I make the motion to change the tipping fee to $60, starting July the 1st of this
Okay,
year.
and you're okay with that? So we'll just add that in.
Six-year plan.
Okay, on the 6-year plan, if you checked your email and saw that there's not new money to add any roads for this upcoming year. So we've got a couple of options. We will be having the public hearing on the 6-year plan. You will get that in advance. That will be at your June meeting. That will be advertised as a joint public hearing with VDOT. I have in your packets the roads that were given to me and their estimated cost and average daily vehicle trips. I have inquired, Mr. Skeen had asked about getting a traffic count for all the dirt roads, so I have asked VDOT about that, but have not heard back yet. So you've got some options. You can prioritize what you have here, or we can keep this on record, and then let's say after the first of the year next year, we'll do our prioritization of these roads, and then we'll know what to give VDOT to add, in what order. So it's completely up to you. If you want to, take these and look through them and be deciding over the next several months, what you want to do and how you want to vote for your priorities, we can do that. I do know on Ford Branch Road, they are going to redo the traffic count, because when there's 2 sections, because of the length, they seem backwards to me, because the lowest traffic count is where there's the houses, and the higher traffic count is on the other end. So Mr. Mullins and myself had that discussion, and they are going to redo the traffic counts at some point on those 2, just to make sure that those didn't get switched somehow.
I'm pretty sure those are backwards.
I think so.
Knowing where everybody lives through there. Yeah.
So they are going to recheck those, I know. And then that would give us time to see what they come back with, if we can get traffic counts for all the other roads as well. So it would be my recommendation, totally up to you, although, on just postponing this till maybe January, and then we can start digging in again before we add more roads. But totally up to you all.
Yeah. I just want to make a comment right quick that, this isn't the county not having the money for this. This is the state not having the money for this.
Yes,
This is
that's
VDOT
correct.
not setting the money aside for this.
And I think what the problem was, just for the record, there's a road that's on the plan under construction now. So the road was not forgot, it was not left off the plan, it's actually one they're working on right now. It was just left off the funding part. The road's still being worked on as of today, but that financial piece, once they put that back in the budget, that was over $400,000. That took what money we thought we were gonna have for next year. So that's what came up on that.
Which road is that? Just
He didn't say,
okay. So.
but he did, specify it was one that was currently under construction, not one that had got left off.
Okay. So we can ask him about that next month.
Sure, they will be here in June. We will do the public hearing, and then Mr. Sumter will give his quarterly update.
Where is Mill Creek Road?
That's off of Clinch River Highway, going toward,
Rock Grove High School.
Rocco from down there at
well,
Hill
it's 2
Station.
different ways. Clinch River Highway or Rock Grove Memorial Road, it's that connector.
Comes out of Country Basket.
You know where Hill Station is, and where you went to the landfill or the trace side out there, that's that road.
So any other questions on any of the others? Just make sure they look like what you had in mind requesting those. Like your areas and stuff. If it's your road, make sure it's kind of looks like it should. And I'll hang on to these, and we'll start that at the beginning of next year.
I've got that Mill Creek Road on the screen up there, Mr.
This road that me and you come out of Taylortown that day, and then made a right, and went back towards Rocco with the trash cans, that's,
Based on this list, that's the one that has the most traffic.
I believe that was Miss Addington's road that she selected. Yeah, 160 is quite a bit of traffic now.
It's one Lesser Simmons.
I bet
down
they
on the
use
west.
it as a connector from Rye Cove over as a shortcut.
The other thing is, that we may talk about this later, is adding secondary roads, the 5% thing, would that come up in June?
Yeah, I think so. Or if, well, I guess we need to talk about that tonight because they would need to know that when they're formulating the 6-year plan.
You want to just touch on that? I know there's a lot of detail in it, but just the basics.
There is an option to set aside 5% of your funding that's available for the 6-year plan to go toward rural additions, which would be taking additional roads into the VDOT system. To do those additions, you have to ensure that you've got the right-of-way from the people that's along that road, and you have to get that road up to standard as far as your width and everything. So it's a lot of detail in taking a road into the plan, but there's a lot of cost as well. I know there was one that we've looked at, I guess it was last year, and it was several $100,000 to take in a subdivision road that's over in Carter's Valley that we had been hearing a lot about. So you can set aside that 5%, and that will continue to grow until you have enough to do a project. So if that's something you all want to do, we can let VDOT know. We would take action, yes or no, and then let VDOT know so they can incorporate that into the plan that we'll have the public hearing on.
We have 600 miles of unpaved road as it is. I think we should just leave it as it is.
It's about 250 miles.
Is it? Oh, sorry, 250. That's my bad. I'm thinking of another number. But it's getting late. But yeah, 250 miles. I don't think we need to be worried about adding other ones in. We need to be
Now,
worried about
that's paving. This would just be gravel maintenance. There'd still be money involved, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't be paving. It would be just taking it over to grade it. The state takes it over.
Yeah, but that's taking away money from paving these roads. It's already going to take us around 60 years. That's the number I was thinking of. It's going to take us about 60 years at current level of funding to pave all of the dirt roads in the county. And, I'd hate to say, let's add 5% on that. And
So
push
you're
it
saying that people will never, for 60 more years, they never have a chance to get added into the system?
No, I don't think that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that if you've got a road in the county that isn't already part of the system, it's going to be a hard sell for me. When they build these roads for, like, say, a subdivision, don't they already have to bring them up to state standard?
That one that I was talking about has been there for many, many years.
Right.
It's not anything that's new.
Yeah, I just worry about what kind of precedent that sets, because, I'd hate for Ms. Tice to come back in here and say, you're pushing my road off a little bit more to take another road in there.
Well, it just comes 5% off the top of the budget for the county. Is that the way it works?
I think that's my understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have what's called revenue sharing. Those grants will open up next year, or that program will open up again next year in 2025. And if you wanted to do a rural addition, we could look at applying for a revenue sharing grant, and it's like a $1 match. So if we were to the point and you wanted to use the Regional Improvement Commission funds to match a grant dollar for dollar, then that might be a good way to take in a new section.
It might be a better idea for a case-by-case basis. But, coming year, we're not going to do it. I don't see us magically getting any money next year.
Ms. Glover has a road that she has to petition on, and I've got one that I've had ever since I've been here and it even has a whole page of names. That's two that we've heard a lot about, so I'm hanging on to those.
Okay.
I've got a binder that's for VDOT, and they're in that binder. I appreciate that.
So
I understand where you're coming from on those. I would like to see them moved in there, but as much as we've heard on rural roads and dirt roads, I just don't know that I can do that.
We will be discussing this after the first of the year, correct?
This would be for the 6-year plan, the 5%.
So that'll be a discussion we can have in January.
Yes. Okay. Moving right on, 8G Enterprise Zone, John's gonna talk to us about that later. Is Mr. Ferguson, did he leave anything with you on the line of credit?
Yes, this is something we do every year. The Board of Supervisors just needs to authorize the treasurer to go out for a line of credit for the school system in the amount of $4 million. They don't use that very often, but that allows them to draw down money before our tax money starts coming in the fall. So it's a benefit to the county, instead of the schools drawing down money when we're tighter in the fall of the year. It allows them to use a line of credit, and they do cover all the interest that is charged if they do a draw on the line. So I just need authorization to allow Mr. Helms to go out for a line of credit for the school system in the amount of $4 million.
Do they have to pay any interest if they don't use none of it?
No, it's not like a revenue anticipation. It's just a standard line of credit. So you only pay interest if you use it. Yeah.
And you said that's $4 million?
$4 million.
Okay.
We need a motion to approve the school's line of credit.
So moved.
Ms. Addington made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Ms. Glover, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we move on to the golf cart fee increase. You have probably on your iPad.
Last time we did this, it was just by board motion. Currently, we charge $7. Let me find my sheet. I think currently it's $7 for green fees and $8. Yeah. Let's see. Green fees are currently $7 for 9, $11 for 18. So we're requesting to increase each of those $1. Golf cart rentals, 9 holes are currently $7, 18 holes are $15. We're requesting to increase each of those $1. The Monday special, Tuesday senior citizen day, and Thursday ladies discount day, all of those are staying the same. I just put those on there to go along with the fees in the board motion. That's currently what we charge for those now. But our request is to increase $1 for each of those items. So if you played 9 holes of golf with a cart, it would be $16. 18 holes would be $28.
Any discussion, or is that okay with everyone?
Will that take care of the expenses on the golf carts, the new ones that we purchased?
The golf carts were purchased with interest that we earned on our investment on the local government investment pool. So there was no tax dollars spent on those, but it will help with golf course operations.
What's the expenses on that golf course right now?
I don't have that draft in front of me, but I think they have about a $200,000 budget.
That's what they don't, that's what they spend every year.
Mm-hmm.
And they take in 70,000.
It's more than 70. I can send you those exact numbers and break that down for you.
Okay.
Okay?
We have a motion for proposed fee changes for the golf course.
Do we just want to do 28?
I would do it $1 increase for each thing. It is 28 if you play 18 holes.
Okay.
But we also need to have those broke down individually. Some people go and walk, so they wouldn't have a cart fee, but Derek, Mr. France, is requesting that the green fees be increased $1 as well. So that would be the same whether you walk or you ride.
So in other words, it's gonna be average of $1 or $2.
Right, right.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Castile made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Ms. Glover, second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We do have an 8J here, which is changing our meeting date. June 5th. Is that correct? Did you say June or July?
July.
What's
Be
that date?
Wednesday.
What is that date?
First
The
Wednesday?
Yeah,
Be the first Wednesday.
The third.
July the 3rd
Be the first Wednesday of every month
at 8:30.
at 8:30 in the morning.
You gonna do it in June? I thought you was doing it in June.
July.
You gotta change it.
Start it in July.
Does that take a motion?
What time of day do we want to do?
8:30?
8:30 in the morning.
Ms. Starnes and I have spoken a little bit. She has a thing she tries to wrap up in the mornings when she comes in. And the PSA board meets at 9, which I think is a good time. I would recommend, unless somebody opposes, 9 o'clock, and that kind of gets you out of bus traffic too. Would that work a little better for you, Ms. Starnes? Give you the extra 30 minutes to
Of course.
get stuff together.
Yeah.
I'm fine with 9 a.m.
I'm good with either, but 9 would give us a little more time in the morning.
Does that take a motion?
I guess out from
Need
school.
to amend your rules of procedure to put that in.
Discussion on 8:30 or 9? Does it matter? 9 o'clock?
I go into work at 9, so it'd be nice to have it at 9.
Okay, we need to amend our rules of procedure to change our meeting time and dates. The first Wednesday of every month, be July the 3rd, the first one at 9 o'clock. We have a motion to change those rules of procedure.
I'll make that motion to change those
Ms.
rules
Glover
of
makes
procedure.
the
I'll second.
motion, and Mr. Castle seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
One opposed.
You said you had to go work.
Yeah.
Well, how can we change it to make it benefit you?
Don't worry about it. I'll make it work.
Listen, I didn't do that.
Ms. Vickers, bookkeeping items?
Please appropriate $540 to general properties for contracted maintenance, 1000-43200-403324 for reimbursement received and deposited at the treasurer's office. And appropriate $40,357.25 to capital projects, communications equipment replacement, 1000-400-408-104-08026 for an insurance claim received and deposited at the treasurer's office. And appropriate $17,804.14 to capital projects, communications equipment replacement, 1000-400-408-104-08026 for reimbursements received and deposited at the treasurer's office.
We have a motion to approve this.
So moved. Oh, sorry.
Ms. Addington made the motion, Mr. Jeter, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And please accept Circuit Courts Library of Virginia Records Preservation Grant 2023 FY-049. And if accepted, please appropriate $21,889 in the established expense code CCRPP LBA Grant Records Books Microfilming 1000-219-40-405850-01661 for reimbursement received and deposited at the treasurer's office.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Addington made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Manus, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Tina?
We have one appointment to the Mountain Empire Community College Advisory Board. Adrian Hood has been serving, and she did reapply, and she's your only applicant.
Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate Adrian Hood.
I'll second that.
I'll make a motion that nomination cease, and we vote by acclamation. All in favor, say
Need
aye.
a second.
I second that.
Second, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Adrian.
Sir, can I ask, did you, while I was stepped out, did you all vote to have the meeting for next month in the morning?
No, it's gonna start July the 3rd at 9 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yes. 9 o'clock in the morning.
How many people do you think can stop work and come to commit to that meeting? Is it in the bylaws that that it's supposed to be held at a time when the public can come?
We have tried to do it as we're doing it now, starting at 6 o'clock. And it's not worked, so we're going to change back to the first Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
Why?
I've not come here all my life, you know why? Because I gotta work. I think this is my third meeting that I've been to. And the only reason I
So
can,
why are we
the only reason
changing?
I can even show up to this is because it's at 6 o'clock today, because I got bills to pay.
We've had it since January at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
6 o'clock.
I'm sorry, at 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
That,
And it ain't working for y'all? It's not convenient? I mean, why are we changing it? That's why I'm asking.
we've tried both ways and this is the best way. It has been passed, there's no discussion on it.
It's not in the bylaws that we have the say-so when we can attend the meeting?
No, it's not.
But it needs to be. We'll have to attend that meeting.
Okay, we'll go on to appointments. Ms. T.
Go ahead.
You have one appointment to the Lonesome Pine Regional Library Board. Jennifer Mead has been serving. She has served her 2 terms and is no longer eligible. And you did not receive any applications for this appointment.
I've got one more person I want to call and try to see if she's interested.
I've been searching too, but it's hard to find people that will serve.
Okay, county attorney's report.
You all have my report in your packets. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Ms. Bickley? County administrator's report.
You have your treasurer's accountability in your packet. The general fund balance after this month's claims is $8,712,663.98. The school system did pull down $7.3 million. So you'll see on your comparison chart, that's where the difference is at. As far as claims, we have early claims for the month that total $662,416.79. Current claims total $887,705.54. And total claims for the month is $1,550,122.33. You do have a list of the 5,000 and over claims for the month, if you want to look at those and see if you have any questions.
Any questions? Okay.
I'll make the motion, we pay the bills.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Darrell seconds. Addie made the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I do have one thing under miscellaneous. Mr. Eric Smith gave me a call yesterday and wanted to follow up on the presentation that he gave last month and requested opioid direct funding for the project in Lebanon. So I told him I would mention this tonight and get your thoughts about his request.
Any thoughts?
You want me to tell him you're still thinking about it?
Still thinking about it. And that's it.
I did have one thing on that. Ms. Starnes, I think, is on the advisory board at Mountain Empire. I talked to Mr. Ferguson, the Promise program. He said there's one advisor at Gate City and a shared at Dry Cove and Twin Springs.
So one at Gate City and then a shared one for the other two? Okay. Because I know in his presentation, he did mention that he thought that was some of the issue with the students. So we do have our next meeting Friday afternoon, and I will mention that.
Is that all, Ms. Thompson?
That's all I have, yes.
Okay. Any comments, supervisors' comments, requests, or recommendations before we go into executive session?
I do have my normal comments unless somebody else wants to speak first. On the VDOT, Ms. Begley from Greens Chapel Lane called about pre-construction and paving that's scheduled this year. Potholes, that's been corrected. Obies Creek Road Midway had a falling tree, and that's been corrected. Luray Road, they brought in a big excavator and did work there for several weeks for safety. That's been taken care of. Gate Road in Nicholsville for drainage, maintenance and paving is completed. By the way, the paving projects are back on now, so the plants are open. No orange bags collection issues. There is a resident in my community, Anthony Odell, that has 100 signatures for intersection site improvement at Little Duck Road in 71. We'll be, I guess, submit that to Mr. Sumter. Is that how the petitions? How would that work?
I don't know that I've ever had a petition. Is it for work that needs to be done?
Well, it's for site correction, site vision.
Yeah, just
A
can you get
major-
it to me
it'd
and
be
I'll
the-
send it on?
It would be the that project, state project for safety.
Okay.
What's the name of that? That Natural Tunnel's doing.
6-year, smart scale.
Smart scale.
If he wants to send that to me, if you'll give him my email address.
I've got it, so
Okay.
I've got it on paper. I'll just bring it back.
Okay.
The school bus and sheriff's department safety issues are being addressed throughout the summer months. I'm going to try to work on getting a right-of-way mowing schedule so people will know when their neighborhoods are going to be mowed on the VDOT contracts. 6-year plan for completion this year in my area, Obie Creek, that's in the Midway community, Gillen Waters Chapel in Nicholsville. Outside my area is Green Chapel Lane, and the project over Devil's Fork going to High Knob, that's a federal project, and they're going to start that this year. On meetings attended, I did door-to-door community flyers in Midway and Twin Springs Water Project, and attended the PSA meeting in Midway Methodist Church. Richard Gillenwater did some organization. Mr. Williams, who is here tonight, continuing to do some work on that. We've got over 200 user agreements. Did get a user agreement from Mr. Ferguson for the Twin Springs School. So that's going to be a big addition to that project. That's all I have.
Anyone else have comments?
I'd like to make a comment, please. I'd like to invite everyone in District 2 on May the 14th at 6 p.m. I'm going to have a town hall meeting for the district of District 2. It's going to be at the Boozy Creek Community Center. That's located at 1989 Shelley's Road in Bristol, Virginia. I'll have some special guest speakers there. We're going to have Dale Sanders. He's the chief of the fire department. He's going to be there to talk about the ISO ratings, how important they are to the fire departments, and how important they are to the residents because it concerns their homeowners insurance and also businesses too. We're also going to have Mike Dishman there. He's the PSA director, and he'll be there to talk about the Hilton Sewer Project. So I'd like to invite everyone to come out, come hungry because we're going to have free hot dogs, and just come and fellowship with us, and we'll talk and get some good communication going on, because I feel that's what we need in our community is more communication and more involvement. And I'd just like to invite all of District 2 there.
Thank you.
I have one comment that I'd like to close out on. Just thank you to the county staff for all that you do. And thank you, in particular, Frida, for helping us work down this budget. You know, when we started with the recommendation from the budget committee, we were at a $3 million deficit, and we cut, Frida and I worked to cut that about in half. And then I think we've talked with enough people that we can get that down a little bit more. And that's reflected in that document that I shared with this lady in the green pants out here. I forgot her name though. Miss, what's your name?
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Bobby Couch Powers.
Bobby Couch Powers.
You said that we could have a copy of the bylaws too. Do you have a copy of those with you?
I don't have a copy of those with me now.
Does anybody have a copy of the bylaws?
Probably not. But we can send that to you.
Is that all the comments of board members? John, the enterprise zone incentives, were you wanting to do that now?
Yes, sir.
I think that was included in your packet of information. And first of all, I thank you all for your service. It's a thankless job. I've served on boards about all my life, on some board or another, church or organization, starting college, and it is, nobody thanks you most of the time, so I thank you. Somebody told me one time, a wise guy said, if you don't want to run for anything else, run for supervisor. So that's something to take with you, is because it is, you get beat up a lot, and you've got a job to do, and I appreciate what you're doing for the county. The enterprise zone incentives, that is your incentive that you give back to businesses that locate within the enterprise zone. The enterprise zone covers, you can have up to 6 square miles in any county. The state designated enterprise zones back in 1999, and Scott County was one of the first. Started in Duffield. Now the enterprise zone goes from Duffield all the way to Weber City. It goes all the way to Nicholsville, and it includes Dungannon as well on those major routes. So we can expand businesses along those routes. So as a result of the enterprise zone that y'all enacted, and this is an incentive that you give back to business because they've invested in Scott County. So we have 2021 expansion of Temper Sealy. They've qualified for the machine and tool tax grant and real estate tax grant of 60% by averaging over 1.5 times the minimum wage rate. And their tax grant will only be on the 2021 expansion items for a total of $83,353.70. And as a result of 2 expansions, 2013 expansion and a 2021 expansion, VFP has qualified for machine and tool tax grant and a real estate tax grant on the 2013 expansion of 40% for tax year 2022 and 20% for tax year 2023. And their grant is $25,734.71. And also as a result of 2021 expansion, VFP Incorporated has qualified for machine and tool tax grant and a real estate tax grant of 60% for tax credit or tax year 2023 by averaging again 1.5 times the minimum wage rate. Their tax grant related to this expansion would be $42,194 and a penny. So Temper Sealy in the amount of $83,353.70, and VFP Incorporated in the amount of $67,928.72. And you know, you ask if that's all the money they pay. They don't. They pay more than that. You have 3 manufacturing and companies in Duffield that paying over $1 million in taxes to the county. So this is just a portion of what they pay. And that's because they created additional jobs for the county and have more investment in the county. And we continue to support the existing businesses that are there.
How much has VFP grown in the last 5 to 10 years?
They've grown tremendous. They've actually added, between them and Temper, they have the majority of the property in the Duffield Industrial Park. So they've added 2 separate buildings or properties. And then Temper has added also. So the expansions on Temper, don't hold me to that, I think it's 4, and I mean VFP's 4 and Temper's 3. So it could be both or 4, but I'll check that.
I'm for that area, and I'm tickled to death to see the growth of those two companies in particular.
And a lot of times we do. We forget that Duffield is there because it's close to the county line that way. And a lot of people are exiting out of the county this way.
Yeah.
But Duffield has been a great asset to the county, and they continue to be an asset to the county manufacturing employees. Employers.
We need a motion. Any discussion or other questions of Mr. Kilgore?
I did have or you beyond the enterprise thing now?
No.
You finished that up, or?
No, we're gonna, no.
It has to
not
be
yet.
approved.
We have to be approved.
Well, I did have something else, but if you want to do that first.
For Mr. Kilgore?
Yes.
Go
Well,
ahead.
I'll
Go ahead
ask.
and vote on, get this out of the way
Okay.
first, where we don't forget.
Okay.
That's what
Do
I'm
we
saying.
have a motion to approve the enterprise zone incentives?
So moved.
I'll
Mr.
second
Jeter
that.
made the motion, and Mr. Manus second. All in favor, say aye.
No.
Opposed? Okay.
And I appreciate that. Also should introduce Roger Frazier as our chairman, and he's here tonight as well. But usually we would bring that before you to the EDA board first, but we have not met in April. We won't meet till May 15th because we had some conflicts on the schedule. So we will take that up at our next meeting. But I want to go ahead and give you some information too. Can I do that? Sometimes I do a presentation, and I just did, for your information, just one sheet, and I'll give you a copy of this as soon as I get done. So by the numbers, you look at economic development, and it's good to be here to present to you, and I think I'll address what Eddie had in mind here, hopefully. But economic development is in a nutshell, is programs, policies, or activities that seek to improve the quality of life for the county, all county citizens. And each county has its own opportunities, challenges, and priorities. And economic development is a valuable investment that every community should make. So in partnership with the county, we've revamped the website in the last couple of years, and thanks to Frida's leadership on that, we've been able to do that, and of course Penny as well. The new site offers ease of navigation and hopefully a quicker path to needed information. We continue to focus on business retention and expansion, as I mentioned before. And if you look on this, we've had 10 manufacturing expansions. And you would have to go to Wythe County to equal that. And that's right on Interstate 81. And those are the 3 largest manufacturing companies that we have there. The grants that we brought or we managed in the county, $24,661,000. So if you look at the years that I've been here, and there's 45 years of experience in the Economic Development Office, that's over $1 million a year. That's 3 times what our budget is. So we're bringing money back to the county to reinvest in the county. We've also assisted with 14 ribbon cuttings, and that's in the last 5 years. 7 of the top 20 employers in the Atlanta-Wisco region are in Scott County. And you'll say, well, that's not saying a lot. It is, because 3 of them are manufacturing. So the top 5 largest employers have an estimated workforce of 1,700 people. Of course, number 1's a school, but if you add the next 2 together, which are manufacturing, there are more employees than the school has. And then you also have VC to Capital. You talk about small business. We've helped 19 businesses with that grant, $185,000. We've also had 40 loans of $744,000. And total private investment, great figure here for Duffield, is $114 million private investment in Duffield. So, it's not just about Riverside, or we have to also focus on Duffield as well. If you look at the next page, page 2, we track a lot of figures. Per capita income is $26,681. And that's great. I think when I started here, it was around 16,000. So it's good that it's increased. The median household income, that's individuals per capita. The median household income, and that's everybody in the household, is $44,535. The unemployment rate is tracing really the state rate. It's at 3% now. And we also do a zip code survey of people who are coming into the county to work. And you can see by that zip code survey that there's people coming even as far as Smith County or Tazewell County to Scott County to work. We still have 4,000, a little over 4,000 out commuters that go out to work, but we have over 2,000 that come into the county to work. So we have to depend on a regional workforce. And that's why the Regional Industrial Facilities Authority is important. That Frida and I are representing the county on that board. Already on that, there's $7 million private investment in counting because there's work in other projects. And also there's $36 million in grants that they receive for that regional project. So it's great that we have the region as well for our workforce. You know, in Duffield, when we were looking at that the highest worker percentage was from Wise County, not Scott County, because it's that close to Wise County. So it's important that we have that regionalism and regional workforce. As far as the, I've heard a lot of talk about the Riverside development and comments about that. Well, the Riverside, your investment in Riverside, or the previous board's investment in the Riverside, was about $2 million. Since that time, you've got well over $7 million in investment there. So was that a good investment for the county? Yes, it was a good investment for the county. Now, if you sold the property, you wouldn't have anything to market for a potential business that came in. So you would sell that, and you don't know what you would get there. You could get any type of business or any type of housing. So that's important that you realize that too. The same in Duffield. If you sold that, we wouldn't have developable property. Why did Temper locate in Scott County? Temper located because they came to Scott County from Wise County to look at a building. They looked at a building in Duffield and they said, do you have anything else? And they said, well, we got this 47 acres over here in Duffield, and that's where they are today. And that's where they've expanded a number of times. If we didn't have that developable land that was ready to go, they wouldn't have been in Duffield. They would have been in Oak Ridge because we were competing with Oak Ridge for that project. So that's all good information to tell you about. The other thing I'll tell you about revenue. You know, you talk about revenue on the Cricket Road Tech Center. All the EDA wants to do is invest back in the county. Our mission is to create jobs and to create investment for the county. It's always been that. And our priorities have not changed much. That's market the county and diversify that economic base. We've diversified a lot by adding the technology part, by adding one up here on this end of the county. And the board works really hard in doing that, and they're a great board to work with. Y'all got some great business-minded people on the board. But the average annual income over the last 4 years for the Cricket Road Tech Center is $105,695. The expenses for Cricket Road Tech Center, I don't get anything from the county, is $83,481. So how much has the county invested in the Cricket Road Tech building? Does anybody know? Zero. Is it an asset? Yes. So Riverside, how much have you invested there? $2 million. Return on investment, $7 million. Average annual income for Riverside, $15,400. Expenses, $16,693. The EDA's covering that. It's not costing the county anything. We're actually paying the maintenance people to go down to the Cricket Road Tech Center to work or to go to the Riverside to work. So we're not making a lot of money that's out there on the media, social media or whatever. Any questions?
The question I had, that people, I don't know if you've been tuning in to our meetings lately, but they want to know how much new revenue, incremental, has been created in the last few years. And I don't at this time of night, it's kind of hard for me to decipher this. Looks like you got a lot of good data. But just in general, how much revenue that affects the taxpayers has been created by the EDA in the last 4 or 5 years?
Well, you got $1 million from the tax, from the manufacturing that's paid in taxes annually. That's just from 3 manufacturing companies. That's not counting any other business that we've held, sales tax or anything. I'm not counting any of that. I'm just $1 million on the manufacturing. If you didn't have that, that's 1 million of your $30 million budget or whatever it is.
Any more questions?
What are your plans with Riverside?
We are, hopefully, we'll get another developer to help us with that site and develop the site and have a mixed use. It's always been a plan to have a mixed use site there. It's, if you go back to the original plan, it was always to be a mixed use. So you'd have retail and then some type of light industrial or that or technology-based business and then housing around. It's always been that way.
We are going into closed session. Any more questions? We have 3 items to go into closed session. A3, real estate, Gate City. A7, legal counsel. And A5, prospective industry, Duffield, Weber City, and Dungannon. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Harold made the motion. We have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
What was the third?
All opposed? Respective industry, Duffield, Weber City, and Dungannon.
All right, we're back.
We will go into executive session. Take a 5-minute break and then